The Florida Panthers are back-to-back Stanley Cup champions.
Well, it's the day after. Welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram as Oilers Nation. A day of mourning, I would say, for Oiler fans in the city, across the province, across the country, globally. I know there's Oiler fans all over the place. And last night and even today, I'm guessing it's not a great feeling. Not a great feeling. Being around the city today, went to Elks. Even at the Elks, they're talking about it. People want to see the city win, right? Because when a team wins, the city wins, and it was disappointing. It was very much deja vu last night. I found for the Edmonton Oilers, a lot of what wasn't working previous in the series, they just continued. They had some bad giveaways. I don't understand why loading up McDavid and Draisaitl, it didn't work the whole series. Why were you doing it? And I've got the numbers to back it up. They played 70 minutes together, 5-on-5 in the series, and got outscored 5-1. When McDavid played away from Draisaitl in 44 minutes, he got outscored 3-2. When Draisaitl played 40-some minutes away from McDavid, he got outscored 4-3. So, yeah, still -1, but better than -4. And then without McDavid and Draisaitl on the ice in the series, the Oilers were even. 4 goals for, 4 goals against. And that there was more minutes there than at any other time of the game, because when you play McDavid and Draisaitl together, right, like it wasn't working. I didn't understand in a game that you were down 1-0, 6 minutes into the game, and you'd played fine. Florida had nothing going until Mattias Ekholm threw an absolute bomb to Evan Bouchard, and it wasn't good, right? It wasn't good at all. So I don't get why you would just suddenly be like, as a coach, oh my God, we got to put them back together. Like, you didn't have them together to start. Florida had generated nothing. It was one horrendous pass from Ekholm, goes to Bouchard. Bouchard has trouble handling it. Then Reinhart gets it, and then Reinhart walks Ekholm to make it double worse. So that wasn't great, right? So I just didn't get it, right? I did not get it. Why it would do it. McDavid after the game, hey, we kept doing the exact same thing. Well, yeah, that line didn't work together. Didn't work together all series. I said it all day before the show yesterday. Stop playing them together. You have a better chance of creating something when one of them's on the ice. You put both of them together, Florida's like, okay, let's just limit that. You have no Zach Hyman, you got Nugent Hopkins banged up. Doesn't make sense. Right? Plus, when they weren't on the ice, you were 4 goals for, 4 goals against. Right? When they were together is actually where you got murdered the most. Got outscored 5-1. Right? It wasn't working. So Chris Knoblock pushed a lot of buttons right for the last few years. That was a button he just kept pushing, and it was wrong. And it didn't work. Now, give Florida credit, man. Florida, very good team, right? Very good team. You can't argue it. You can't deny it. It wasn't, you know what? Like you can't complain about Florida and, oh, they didn't deserve it. Edmonton got unlucky. No. Florida played great, right? They just did. And they were full marks for the win. Full marks. And so now the Oilers, it's going to be another short off season. It's going to feel like long, and they're going to have to readjust. Right? They're going to have to readjust. They're going to have to make some changes. They're not going to bring back the same 2 goalies. I think that's obvious, right? So that's the first one they'll do. They got guys. Evan Bouchard's going to need a new contract. They're going to move some guys out. I've said Arvidsson for a few months is going to get traded. They'll look at moving him. I don't think they're going to re-sign Jeff Skinner. Evander Kane could easily be traded. You might go bigger and try to say, hey, Darnell, maybe now's the time we're got to make a move here. Right? So there'll be a tough offseason for Stan Bowman. Now, not as tough as teams that are trying to get there. The Edmonton Oilers are a good team. They're just not as good as Florida. They didn't play as well. Florida kept the same thing and it worked. Edmonton kept doing the same thing and it didn't work. Right? That's the problem. So when I look at the Oilers and where they're going moving forward, they're going to have to change something. The biggest issue I noticed when I watched McDavid and Draisaitl when they're on the same line together in the playoffs against Florida, they're on the outside. The middle of the ice is wide open too often in the offensive zone. You're not generating anything. Right? It didn't work. That's why when you have McDavid and Draisaitl and they're on the outside, the other two guys are in the middle of the ice because they're like, these two guys are going to create plays for us. Right? Like the number one thing the Oilers need to do next year is, what did Paul Maurice say after they lost the 2023 Stanley Cup? What did he say? He said, I could play Barkov and Tkachuk together, but we're better when they're apart. And guess what? He hasn't put them back together in the playoffs. If you want to play them a few shifts here, they're great. But even in the regular season, stop using it as things aren't going well. Oh, these guys are getting frustrated. No. If they want to win, they've got to learn to play apart. And when things get rough, you've sorted out without always going to it. Now, if you want to play a shift after a penalty kill, 100%. I get it. I totally understand it. But other than that, it should be like, I'm not doing this unless we're trailing with 10 minutes to go. I'm not doing it 6 minutes into a 1-0 game ever again. It does not work. If you want to win, teams win in the playoffs. Teams win. The rest of your lineup without McDavid and Draisaitl on the ice, we're even. So you should look and say, if the rest of our guys are even when they're on the ice, we should be able to outscore them. Right? That should be your goal. Now, obviously, you would like if when they weren't on the ice that you outscore the opposition, 100%. So they'll have to look at improving there. But to me, that's number one. Number two, goaltending. You're gonna have to change your goalies. Right now, last night, if you look at it, after 2 periods, do you know what the expected goals or high danger chances were? 8-3 in favor of Florida. Like, hey, goaltending has to be better, 1,000%. But goaltending wasn't the only reason they lost this series. It wasn't none. Florida was just better. The better depth, and they did not make mistakes. Like, look at some of the giveaways Edmonton had last night. Like, Matthias Ekholm is now, obviously he's banged up. I get it. But if you know the guy's banged up, why are you force-feeding into playing that much? Right? Sometimes you have to, you can't just say, you know what, we're going to live in, I get with go to the guys who got you there, but if he's banged up, he didn't get you there. And now he's not the same guy. So you have to look, I would think, at least changing it. No? Just me, though, but that's something I would look at. So we'll find out where they go from here. But it's going to be an interesting offseason. Hey, if I was an Oilers fan, I get your frustration. I'll say this, though. You'd much rather be a team that's close than be a team that's far. Because if you're far, you need a lot of work. You're going to overspend in free agency. Like July 1st wasn't good for the Oilers last year. It didn't work out. Right? I think we can all agree with that. It did not work out. The signings on July 1st did not work out. So July 1st is a lot of times where you're going to overpay. So try to avoid overpayment on July 1st. The Oilers are going to have to find some value contracts. They've got top-end skill, but there's things they're going to have to improve. They're going to have to rejig their goaltending. They're going to need another right defenseman. I think they're going to need some forwards, and I think they got to tweak their forward approach to mirror a little bit like Florida. Craig Simpson in the second period top. Oh, look at the Oilers. 2 really good chances. No, they weren't. They were chances from between the ringette line. I know it's not there, but it's easy to visualize. The ringette line and the blue line. From the middle of the ice, guys shooting, and no screen in front. You're not beating Bobrovsky from there. I'm sorry. That's not a great chance. Now, look at Lundell's goal, right? The Florida's second goal. Where's Lundell? Right in the face of Stuart Skinner. and watch it every time. It's a commitment, and it's like, guys, in their zone, we are going to get eyes in front of the goalie, right? Because goalies are good, and you got to get in front of their eyes, to, especially at the release point, and see what's going to happen and go from there. So that to me is what they need. And well, we'll see. It is it's going to be hard to come back to the Stanley Cup final. Make no mistake about that. It's going to be very hard. You know, the Oilers, we saw it. And they look good, right? Like they look good in the 2 rounds. That's why, you know, people say, no, the Oilers are terrible. They're not terrible. Right? Just Florida's good. Sometimes you got to be like, man, Florida's good. I know that's hard, and I know it's frustrating. And Florida, you know, they really controlled this series. I don't think we can argue that. They really controlled the series. And it's frustrating for Edmonton, I'm sure, but you got to learn from it. You got to keep swinging, right? You have to keep swinging. So we'll find out what happens in the offseason. This is kind of the first full offseason of Stan Bowman. Now, he was here. He wasn't here on July 1st, but he got hired later in July. He was there when they decided not to match Holloway. We said at the time on the show, I didn't love not matching him. I would have matched him. I wouldn't have matched Broberg. Now, I don't think Holloway would have got 60 points in Edmonton. But for $2 million, he would have been better. I didn't mind the Pod Colson for a 4th. I'll do that trade again all day long. Kapanen on waivers, 100%. I don't mind the Frederic Drill. They're going to re-sign him. Wallman, no problem. So 4 moves I like. I didn't love the not matching of Holloway. Other people, there might be moves you liked or didn't like, and we'll discuss it. I'll have lots of time because the Oilers, they're close, but they got to get to the area that's the hardest now. They've climbed the Western Mountain, and the Western Mountain won't be easy next year, right? Dallas, Colorado, Winnipeg, Vegas, they're good teams, right? They're going to reload and make some changes. But Edmonton this year, they dominated the West. Like Dallas and Vegas, it wasn't close in those 2 series. Like Edmonton waxed them. They outscored them, 43-21 combined? So that's a wax job. You can't take that away from the Oilers. They dominated the West in the 2nd and the 3rd rounds. There's no question. So I look at the Oilers and where they're going to go, and it'll be an interesting offseason. I don't know if I can rank in order because I don't think there's one thing. I know everybody's going to say goaltending. Sure. Goaltending is a part of it. But keep in mind, goaltending was fine when they won 8-2 over Dallas and Vegas. It didn't hurt you. So it can be an issue at times. But you look at it, how your team's built, you can, well, first of all, there's not many $10 million goalies. So if you're going to get one, then you got to shed a lot of salary. So it's, you know, they got to move some things around here. But they will look at another goalie, no question. They're not going to bring back both of them. Or I guess if they do, they'll bring in another one. But I would think there'll be a change in goal. I think there will be, you know, some new forwards, of course. They got 4 or 5 free agents. They're not all coming back. I think there's going to be some guys they trade. So this team will look different. No question, it'll look different. I think Chris Knoblock as a coach will improve and learn, just like the players, right? You know, people talk about Barkov, and he doesn't score as much as McDavid, but he's better defensively than McDavid. Right? McDavid's way better offensively, no question. But I want Draisaitl and I want McDavid as my number 1 and number 2 center for the vast majority of the time. I want to erase the nuclear option. I do not think it works. Proof's in the pudding. Doesn't work. It doesn't work, I should say, when it's the go-to regular thing. I think it weakens your team, especially without Hyman. So I definitely would not do that at all. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. It is a Jason Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. We got a loaded show for you today. We're going to hear from Mike Rupp. We got Yaremchuk. Shai Davidi will join us. What about the Jays? I know you're probably in a bad mood last night, but if you're watching the Jays game in the 9th inning, it was exciting. They're down 4-3. They hit a jack from Bichette, and then Barger hits the walk-off. Huge. They've been playing really well. Rob Schremp will get his thoughts on the series. Spec, 2-minute warning with Cam Tate. We got some Elk stuff. We'll hear from their head coach. I got a one-on-one with Trey Ford. We'll do tomorrow for the Elks home opener. We'll have some open line time. Lots of texts coming in, 833-401-1440. Cons, what's your overall assessment of the series?
Better team won, 100%. I mean, I don't think you can take that away from that series thinking that the Oilers deserved better. I just thought the Florida Panthers kind of bested them on every level. Goaltending was better. Their players that needed to be better were better, and defensively they were. They took advantage of some of the Oilers' mistakes. Don't get me wrong, but for them as an Oilers, it's crazy to think, as poor as it was, you still took them to overtime in the first two games. You could have left Edmonton up 2-0. Could have left Edmonton down 2-0. There was still some close games, and it kind of snowballed. And I think the Panthers really gained momentum and found their game and played very strong. And it's unfortunate because the NHL, you can be top two, and if you're not one, it doesn't matter. You're just like everybody else. You're the second best team in the league, but the Florida Panthers got the ultimate prize. And now the Edmonton Oilers a little soul searching here. What are they going to do? How are they going to respond next season? You always hear people talk about the fatigue of going to the Cup final. Well, the Panthers have done it 3 straight years. Can the Oilers join them and do the same sort of thing? I think so. I think, they showed this year that they are the class of the Western Conference. I'd love to see them do it for the entire year, though, Gregor. Get home ice, win the division, set the tone in the regular season, and carry it on into the postseason. But I am very curious to see what happens between the pipes and what kind of tinkering Stan Bowman does. Because like you said, they're already at the top, almost. They just need to do a little bit of tinkering, I think, to kind of find what best Florida Panthers.
Like, you don't have to blow this up. The Oilers have won, they've played the second most playoff games the last 3 years. They've won the second most games. Like, there's lots of really good things. And it's painful right now. The last thing, though, I thought the Oilers, they made some emotional decisions on July 1st last year. I think it was more emotional. Oh, Dylan Holloway's not going to you don't take it personal in business. So it became emotional. They they can't make emotional decisions this offseason. They have to make rational ones. You want to, use your analytics team and crunch the numbers, but it's got to be rational. It can't be emotional. And today's going to be emotional for many of you. Tomorrow, the next week will be emotional. I understand it. But the Oilers, fans can be emotional. Media people can be emotional. The organization cannot be emotional. They can't make emotional moves. I thought they did last year. And, July 1st didn't ruin. That's not what cost them the playoffs by any stretch of the imagination. Small little things didn't help them. I think that's fair. Didn't help them. So that's what I'll look at this year. Take a quick break. Mike Rupp will join us next on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
McDonald's summer drink days are back, which means it's officially summer. Enjoy your refreshing small Coca-Cola or small iced coffee for just $1 all summer. Summer's booming with summer drink days. Excludes flavored iced coffee at participating McDonald's in Canada. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
The Discovery Day sales event is on now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. It's your final month to lease a 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.49% and save $5,000. Lease or finance a 2025 XC60 plug-in hybrid from 0.49% and save $4,000. Lease or finance a 2025 XC40 from 0.49% and save up to $2,000. Come and discover the deals now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better services. Only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
Tee off to win with Cattail Crossing's $10,000 hole-in-one challenge, powered by Sports 1440, Canada's first ever Aqua Range event. Just walk up, grab some golf balls, and start swinging. Or book a VIP bay today. Win $10,000 with a hole-in-one. Plus, great secondary hole and leaderboard prizes. Closest to the pin and monthly winners will battle for a $50,000 grand prize. The hole-in-one challenge. Open Thursday to Sunday, noon till 8 through August. Weather permitting, cattailcrossing.ca.
Hey, Alberta. The all-new Play Alberta app is here. Casino, sports betting, lottery, all in one app, right on your phone. And because it's Play Alberta, you know it's safe, secure, and reliable. Download it now and play over 500 online casino games, live dealer tables, and unique games you'll love. Plus, bet on sports from anywhere in the province. You in? Download Play Alberta now from your phone's app store and deposit using promo code OIL for a $100 casino bonus on the house. That's promo code OIL for a $100 casino bonus.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
The dog days of summer means baseball. Every weekend, Sports 1440 carries Toronto Blue Jays ball games. Ben Shulman will have the call. Grab a cold one and tune in this weekend to Blue Jays baseball on Sports 1440.
And now Action Electrical's testing team is on defense duty. They're the guardians of safety and compliance, a critical part of any lineup.
Precisely. They perform rigorous safety and code compliance testing for commercial operations. Think of them as the referees, ensuring everything is up to standard before disaster strikes.
Their preventative plays are legendary, spotting faults early. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
The Discovery Day sales event is on now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. It's your final month to lease a 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.49% and save $5,000. Lease or finance a 2025 XC60 plug-in hybrid from 0.49% and save $4,000. Lease or finance a 2025 XC40 from 0.49% and save up to $2,000. Come and discover the deals now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better services. Only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquessential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade: safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
Sato Canada trains you to succeed in Canada's energy industry. Canada's leading safety and training organization. Basic vacuum truck operator and water truck operator training. Basic rig site orientation. Hot boiler operation. And industrial cleaning introduction. Traco for rig operations. Plus confined space entry and monitor. H2S Alive. Common safety orientation. And standard first aid. Online courses available. A state-of-the-art facility with real scenarios, equipment, and experiences. SatoCanada.ca.
What's your vision for your community? At Vision Credit Union, ours is a thriving rural Alberta where kids have team jerseys, firefighters have the gear they need, and community kitchen fridges stay full. It's why we give back millions every year through grants, donations, sponsorships, and profit shares. Because when your community succeeds, we all do. Bank somewhere with Vision. Vision Credit Union. We see banking differently. Learn more at visioncu.ca.
Find the perfect tractor for any job at Edmonton Kubota. Their massive selection of compact tractors has something for everyone, whether you're tackling small tasks or big projects. And right now, take advantage of 0% financing for up to 72 months. It's never been easier to get the power and reliability you need. Come down to Edmonton Kubota today and drive away with the tractor that's just right for you. Edmonton Kubota, where your perfect tractor awaits.
Portions of this hour are brought to you by EWEL. Get your power play amped up with EWEL, supplying the city of champions in Alberta with quality electrical gear since 1975. EWEL.ca is your partner in power.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.224. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley. Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. It's the Gregor Show. As always, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. Use the promo code Gregor50 and get a free $50 play at PlayAlberta.ca. Tonight, the Gold Ball Jackpot, Lotto 649, $32 million. Get your tickets. PlayAlberta.ca. The Oilers will have their final media of the season tomorrow for the players, and coach and GM will be on Friday. And then now the management and the coaches have already been working. Oh, management, not coaches, but looking ahead to next season. Stan Bowman told me prior, hey, you know what? There's still a lot of work to do. Looking at signing guys, you're talking to some agents. You weren't talking to players during it, but you were talking to agents. The Oilers obviously have some decisions to make on contracts. They got RFAs, they got UFAs. That there's no rest for the wicked heading into the next season already. You look at Corey Perry, Jeff Skinner, Connor Brown, Kasperi Kapanen, and Trent Frederic are the 5 UFA forwards. And then you have John Klingberg as UFA and Evan Bouchard as an RFA. Others in the organization, Derek Ryan, Lane Peterson. Now, Drake Caggiula's already signed in Europe, so he's done. Jacob Rowe, Noah Philp, Cameron Wright are RFAs. Like Noah Philp's obviously getting a contract. Connor Carrick, Travis Dermott, UFAs. Phil Kemp, Ronald Adard. Obviously, he's not coming back. Phil Kemp, he might just want a look somewhere else. Then you got both their goalies in Bakersfield. Colin Delia is a UFA. Olivier Rodrigue is an RFA. So that's all the pending ones in the organization. Got a lot of text flying in. We're trying to track down Mike Rupp, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey, guys, I've always loved Nurse, but they have to find a way to get out from under his contract. You can't be paying your third best D-man $9 million. To me, anything is up for grabs this offseason. Well, excluding if they're not trading McDavid. I don't think trading Draisaitl. So start there. But after that, like they'll look at a lot of different things, right? Like Matthias Ekholm didn't have a great season. He's in the final year of his deal. I think Matthias Ekholm, now, when his next contract comes up, he's going to be 35 or 36, I guess, when the new one comes up, and he's not going to be a $6 million player then. And if Matthias Ekholm's in your third pair in a few years, I have no issue with that at all. So, even if he's in your second pair, I have no problem with it. So, I know there's some people, you're mad at Ekholm. I get it. Last night wasn't a banner night for him. It's totally fair. But again, that to me would be an emotional decision to just say, you know what, I'm getting rid of Matthias Ekholm. I think that would be too emotional. I would question that reasoning at this point. I don't think that would be the way to go for me if I was in charge. Hey, guys, I don't touch the goalies next year. Through the D off. Bad coaching mistakes from Knobs and Coffee. Can't overreact. Learn from it, grow from it. We're better because of it. Nerves still played a part for some of the new guys. Jordan. Well, Jordan, I don't think that you can bring both your goalies back when your goalies are both sub 900 in the playoffs. You can't do it. So there's going to be a change there for sure. It's just going to be a matter of who and where. But I think it's a foregone conclusion now. They are going to make that do. Hey, guys, I think the Oilers would be better off with McLeod and Holloway than Arvidsson and Skinner. Holloway, yes. Now, McLeod, they traded him, and we'll see how that trade works out. Now, if you want to say just keep both of them, there could be an argument there, right? It would have given you some more speed down the middle in your bottom six, sure. And, I think rightly or wrongly, they felt Ryan McLeod wasn't their guy for the postseason. We'll see if it's right or not. Right? We'll see. He had a decent year in Buffalo. He's not going to play those minutes in Edmonton, right? So the numbers guys put up elsewhere where they weren't going to get the situations that they got here. Well, and then someone say, well, why don't they? Do the Edmonton Oilers need to even out their power play minutes a bit? Like there's some things they could look at doing differently if they wanted. But I think it'll start say, let's make a change in goal. We've ran this back a few times. We see the results. They're going to change it. I'd be stunned if that's not a change. I think there's going to be a change on defense. And then they'll go from there. 833-401-1440. Hey, guys, did you notice how much Draisaitl, McDavid, and maybe even the whole roster were puck watching the D-zone? Shoulder checks are minimal. We learned how to keep our heads on a swivel in Pee Wee. I paid attention to that specifically the last few games. It was mind-blowing to me. It was really concerning. And it starts with McDavid and Draisaitl. Well, I don't know. If I'm listing issues of the Oilers, that's not at the top of my list. Can they improve in that regard? Sure. But it just wouldn't be at the top of my list of things I'm looking at when I say, okay, here's what the Oilers have to do. Now, hey, Greggs, what's your thoughts on the NHL and PEDs? Well, I think a very simple choice, Mike, would be to follow what baseball does. So you have a significant suspension, but you get suspended 60 games in the regular season in Major League Baseball. Guess what? You're ineligible for the playoffs. Done. To me, NHL should adapt that rule 100%. You get a 20-game suspension. I don't care where the 20 games are, but guess what? You're automatic. There has to be more of a consequence, right? 20 games is what's, they negotiate in the contract. It's pretty significant, right? That's a quarter of your salary, right? That's a lot. And you miss the playoffs. You miss the fun time of the year. Because that's real consequence. Because for some guys, if you've made $50 million and for 1 year, let's say you're making $8 million and you're going to lose $2 million, you're like, okay, well, I'm still making $6 million and I still get to play in the playoffs. I'm well rested. It's a terrible rule. It doesn't encourage cheating, of course, but I don't think the punishment is severe enough. I'm a big believer there has to be consequences for our actions. It's just like online. People confuse, we have the freedom to say whatever we want. Sure. But there's consequences to what you say. Right? If you want to be a racist homophobe, do it online and be like, no, that's freedom of speech. Sure. But your boss and your company might be like, we don't want you working for us. There's freedom of speech isn't freedom of consequences. And freedom of choice, hey, you choose to take steroids or not, and you can give me all the excuses you want of, well, I didn't know it was in there, yada, yada. Guess what? It's your job. It's your job to know what you put in your body. It's that simple. So guess what? If you know that you could miss the playoffs, maybe you'll be a little bit more diligent in what you do. So that to me is where I would start and go from there. Because I don't like a guy who can get suspended for PEDs and come back. Not a big fan of it. Hey, Gregor, what's your thoughts on the Oilers looking at Dylan Garand? Well, that's the Ranger goalie who's in the American League in Hartford, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know why you think he's the answer. I guess I would say that. Like he's had 1 year above 898 in the American League. Right? His 3 years for the Wolfpack have been 894, 898, 913. Now maybe he's starting to, this year was 913. So sure. Now they're going nowhere in the Rangers organization because of Shesterkin. Now, although maybe they think he's backup, he's a young goal. He's only 23. So you could look at it. Is he a lock? Far from it. Far from it. I don't, he's definitely, I don't know. I'd have to talk to Kevin Woodley about it, but that would be a real wild card to say, okay, we're a team now that's gone to back-to-back Stanley Cup Finals, and we're going to go out there, and our goalie option is going to be a guy who has played only in the American League to this point in his career. That's a pretty ballsy, probably not the best strategy. You've never seen him against NHL shooters. So you're going to look at him as an organizational depth move. Sure. I can't see it being anything more than that at this point. He's never played in the NHL. And it's not like his numbers were out of this world in the American League. He's not putting up Dustin Wolf numbers. So I would probably be a little bit hesitant on that. Hey, guys, not sure why Knoblock kept playing Leon and Connor together when it consistently wasn't working. The 2 games the Stanley Cup was presented, the Oilers scored 2 goals. Janmark and Pod Colson from Dan. Yeah, right. You needed to win a game in Florida last year. Now, they did win a game in Florida they needed to win last year in Game 5. But then you got to game 7 and they scored 1 goal. And that's what happens. There's lots of low-scoring games. Right now, keep in mind, you look at the Pittsburgh Penguins when they won in 2009 against the Detroit Red Wings. Who scored both those goals? Right? Wasn't Crosby. It wasn't Malkin. So, and that's why, I've seen some people online, oh, you can't compare McDavid, Draisaitl, compare him to these other teams. Well, here's the truth of the matter. If you want to compare him to Sakic and Yzerman, remember that Yzerman hadn't won anything for years. They were going to trade him. And then in an era where there was no salary cap, they were spending almost as much as they're spending today. And that was in the late 80s late 90s and 2000s. And look at the Detroit Red Wings teams who won cups. Count the Hall of Famers. Steve Yzerman, Sergei Fedorov, Nicholas Lidstrom, Brendan Shanahan, Brett Hall, Paul Coffey, Larry Murphy, Dominic Hasek. Let's go down the list here. That's a pretty good roster, right? Pretty good players. Now you got depth guys, McCarty, Maltby, Draper. They had a great fourth line, right? Excellent. Fetisov's another guy they had on that team. They had some pretty good players. You even look at, when Tampa Bay won, Vasilevsky, Kucherov, Hedman, Stamkos, Braden Point. You need good players, right? Crosby, he's got a Hall of Fame goalie. In Fleury, they had Malkin. Now, Phil Kessel's not a Hall of Famer. He's a hell of a player, right? They added in some other guys. Mark Recchi, really good player, right? Hall of Famer. So, you need some other guys on your team to win. No question. But, I'll compare in a salary cap era. If you want to compare him to Malkin and Crosby, that's valid. But I can't really compare him to Yzerman and Sakic in a time where Detroit and Colorado were 2 of the 4 or 5 teams who spent way more than everybody else. And it was unlimited cap. And you could just go out there and, oh, we need this guy. Okay, great. Now we're just going to go get him. It doesn't matter. Our owner's willing to pay for him. There's nothing stopping us. Because if that was the case now, look at who the owners could have acquired at the deadline. Their owner would have said, I'll pay whatever. I got McDavid and Draisaitl. Fire it up. They would have went out and got a lot of guys at the deadline. Probably me going around because you wouldn't have cared about what prospects you're giving up because we want to win. But so I got to have realistic comparisons. So McDavid and Draisaitl, I would hope as players, because sometimes, and I could be wrong here, but sometimes I get the impression that they want to do it together, right? Play together. Now, maybe I'm wrong. I could be completely wrong. I'm going to ask the question tomorrow. But as a regular, they should be running their own lines. And I'm just going to revert back to, and keep in mind, Kachuk's a winger, so it could have been easier. But the coach said our team is better when Barkov's on one line and Kachuk's on one line. That's what we're going to do. And that's what they've done. So when Chris Knoblock comes out and tells you in one sentence, Leon Draisaitl like him better when he plays center, just play him at center. Don't get sucked into it. I thought it was 1-0 last night. And they did it way too early. And that to me should kind of put the end to the nuclear option, at least on a regular basis. You want to do it last shift of a period, coming out after a penalty? Of course. I'm talking shift after shift. I want McDavid and Draisaitl. When I'm playing 5-on-5, now I know that at least half, if not more of the game, I'm going to have one of those two on the ice. And that is much better. Hey, Greggs, what's your opinion on Bouchard? I'm thinking how horrendous he is in defense and how much it'll be worth should we trade him. No way he can spend $10 million. Bid let down by almost the entire team against the Panthers. Clearly by a significant margin, they were the better team. They had a lack of scoring, mediocre goaltending, and horrible D-man performance during the final round. Well, I look at it, and overall, as I mentioned, I outlined the numbers. The orders without McDavid and Draisaitl on the ice were 4-4 in goals for, goals against. Now, shots for obviously weren't in their favor, but at the end of the playoffs, all that matters to me in a small sample is goals. That's all that matters. I don't care if my guy gets outshot 10-2. If he outscores him 2-0, that's all that matters. In a short sample size, goals trump everything else. It's not even close to me. Evan Bouchard, I thought Evan Bouchard played really well for long stretches. And I thought I didn't love the strategy because clearly it was a strategy that the Oilers are going to get the puck and flip it out. I didn't like the strategy. I don't think it worked. You know what? You got to live with some. Hey, our guys, you got to make plays under pressure. Let's live to fight another day sometimes. Go back. Go behind your net, right? Regroup. Don't just flip it away. It's a giveaway. I think Bouchard plays better when he's a puck carrier. But I know people are mad at him about the first goal. I'm sorry. Go watch that play again. That might be one of the worst passes I've seen. Like, you're mad at Stuart Skinner on the third goal. And I get it. I don't know what the hell he's doing. He just kind of pushes that puck like it's a flutterer. You got to control that. Right? So that's a bad play. But go watch the Matthias Ekholm pass. There's no one pressuring him. No one. And he tries to sauce a pass that hits Bouchard literally in not even the shin pads, in the pants, for God's sakes. And then now he's trying to control it. And then to put matters worse, Ekholm comes over and gets walked by Reinhart. Like, I'm sorry. That goal is way more on Ekholm than it is on Bouchard. Like, you can be mad at Bouchard about a lot of things. That's not the goal I'm mad at Bouchard about. Like, I'm sorry. That is a play that, like, Matthias Ekholm, you're in a Stanley Cup final, need to win game, and there's no one pressuring you, and you throw an absolute, like, that's like a 2-fister grenade. And then you reach and just let him step by you. Like, how many times did the Panthers walk the order defenseman in open ice here in the last few games? It's probably something we should look at. Like, but that's like, you can't come in there reaching and just get walked. Like, that was such a bad sequence by Ekholm. People getting mad at Bouchard on that play. I'm sorry. I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. I know on the second goal, Bouchard, you don't love the giveaway in the offensive zone. Sure. But you had numbers back. You still had numbers back. Like, it wasn't a direct gave the puck away and now it's an odd man rush. You gave the puck away and you still had numbers back. Actually, it was a 2-on-3. And McDavid left his guy to come late. That was the bigger error, actually. Right? So you're coming back on a 2-on-3 and you go straight to the puck carrier rather than shoulder check, and you got Tkachuk right behind you. That, to me, is the bigger mistake. I get the Bouchard turnover. Don't love it. It's trying to make a play. Doesn't work. Don't love it. But the bigger mistake was the McDavid and Draisaitl. It's a 2-on-3 and really 2-on-4. Draisaitl just kind of goes to no man's land. And then McDavid goes to the puck carrier rather than just pick up, because the puck carrier was in no danger there. Wallman had him. Wallman was right in front of him. He'd almost stopped. He was just going to sift one on goal. Instead, McDavid rushed and the guy's like, okay, here's Tkachuk coming right down the pipe, wide open. And those are plays in a clinching game that you can't make. Right? You can't do it. So you got to, you're going to have to regroup in the summer. It's going to be a long summer. I get it. But, and there's some changes that we can't solve all the problems. That's what's great about the summertime. We got a lot of time to talk about it. But because we'll see after July 1st, how different does the team look? And I think the team on July 2nd isn't the team we're going to see. Could see some summer trades for sure. But I have some things we'll talk about in July and August about the Oilers organization and other things that I believe also need some tweaking. And we'll get to all of that on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. We'll return. Got lots more texts. We'll hear from some post-game comments and more when we return to the Gregor Show. Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada with sports and entertainment properties, including the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League's Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility, is open in Nisku, which features 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and a restaurant with a viewing area.
When you look at a pipe, you just see a pipe. But at GS Construction, we know it's not just a pipe. It's the future water flowing to a growing family's home, or the sewer line for a new school. At GS Construction, we know every trench we dig connects people to what matters. And if you'd like to be part of that vision of making a better future, we're hiring. Right now, GS Construction is looking for experienced foremen to join our team. So apply today at gsconstruction.ca. GS Construction, underground with purpose.
Rivalries run deep in Alberta football.
Edmonton all the way.
Calgary rules.
But when it comes to the best snack for 3-down fun, there's no Battle of Alberta. It's a clear winner.
Real Hawk Beef Jerky.
The one thing every Alberta fan agrees on. So whether you're watching the game from your recliner or in the stands, make it a part of your game day.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky, because you don't win games with salad. Only available in Leduc.
We've got some good news for you. Employee pricing is back at St. Albert Dodge. You pay what we pay, and if you're in the market for a new vehicle, it just doesn't get any better than that. You'll get a great deal, and it's so easy. No complications, no negotiations. The pricing is simple. Your biggest challenge will be choosing the vehicle you want. Employee pricing. Come see us now for the best selection and the best pre-tariff prices of the year. And see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
It's happened again, and construction season is in full swing. Job delayed, money lost, and clients disappointed because your rigging failed and it wasn't inspected. Don't let this happen to you. Have your lifting slings, fittings, hoisting tools, and safety harnesses checked with Titan Supply. Titan Supply offers certified on-site and in-house rigging inspections and service, so they can repair it, replace it, and recertify it. Titan Supply in Edmonton, Grand Prairie, Red Deer, and Calgary, and at titansupply.ca. Lift, dig, haul.
Whoop, there it is. 4 days of basketball at its best. Hoop City 2025, North America's largest FIBA 3x3 showcase. The top 4 Olympic teams on both men's and women's categories, featuring Canada's women's Olympic team, with Edmonton's own Michelle and Catherine Blue. More than just hoops. There's entertainment, long-distance shootout, Grand Slam showcase, plus interactive games and prizes for everyone. Hoop City 3x3 Basketball Festival, July 31st to August 3rd. Ice Palace and West Edmonton Mall. Admission is free, so bring the whole family.
This is a slam dunk. Dive into Edmonton's vibrant basketball scene with exclusive interviews and expert analysis. I'm Paul Sir, and I host The Basketball Show every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Feel so close to you right now, it's a force field. I wear my heart up on my sleeve like a big deal. Your love pours down on me, surround me like a water.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Harley-Davidson of Edmonton on the Yellowhead Trail, locally owned and operated by the Kent family and celebrating 45 years. See all our rides at hdedmonton.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$2.49. Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Lots of questions. 833-401-1440. Hey, Greg's, where do you see Samuel Johnson in a few years? His numbers are pretty good. Honestly, Farmer Brad, I've never even watched him play. I can't comment on. I don't want to comment on young goalies. We'll have Woodley. I'd have to give him updates on it first. To me, to just look at stats for young goalies, you know, I have to look at the team he plays on. You know, what type of, you know, now there's way more than like save percentage. I don't believe really tells us the story as much as we think it does. So that's not, you know, he's playing over in Sweden, and you know what, like, hey, when you have a 922 save percentage in both fours, you know what, it's pretty good numbers. There's no question about it. And his numbers are a little bit better than the other goalie. But then I got to look at the league, and some of those Swedish leagues are very low scoring. So the goalie's numbers might look great, but how many quality chances are they facing? What are the shooters they facing? So we'd have to look at it. But hey, you're obviously not going to be upset about a kid who's 6'3", he's 21 years of age, and his first first kind of full season in Sweden in that division, and he does pretty well. So that's all you want. But he's 21, so I would say he's probably a few years away. As he come to North America, ideally you probably would want him there at some point. Not always, though, right? We see lots of other goalies that come directly from Europe, got a little bit more game experience. I don't know if Edmonton's probably going to look for because you're not going to get a full-fledged starter, I don't think. Like, what kind of package could Edmonton offer to get you a legitimate starter? Because if we're playing for fun here today, and we look and say, okay, like let's just look at goalies and be like, okay, well, which goalies are there available? Right? Not that many. Right? So you people can say, hey, John Gibson. Okay, you can say John Gibson, but guy's pretty injury prone. I don't know if that's the guy. Right? But let's go. Bobrovsky's not available. Vasilevsky's not available. Hellbuck's not available. Jerry Swayman, Sorokin, Jacob Markstrom, Jordan Binnington. Now, Jordan Binnington maybe, because they might like Hofer, and I wonder where St. Louis is at. So I'll say maybe. Grubauer, I don't have a lot of interest in him, me personally. Shesterkin, obviously not. Elvis Merzlikins. Now, there's a guy who very possibly could be available. Now, you know what? Numbers haven't been great. He's he might be a UFA, actually. I got to look that up. He might be is he under contract? No, I think he's got one. I think he might have 2 years left, actually. My bad. So he's got a few years left, but let's put him in the maybe pile. Right? Would that be fair? We'll put him in the maybe pile. Tristan Jarry, 100% he'd be available to move, but not sure you're doing it. Kemper, no. UC Saros. Now, he's an intriguing one. His contract is just kicking in. And he's got that new deal, right? It's making him huge money. I like UC Saros. But if you're making that move, you've got to be pretty confident that and plus it's a huge hit. So you got to give out a lot, right? His cap hit's 7.7, I think, for next year. So, who you making if you're trading out Skinner and someone else? So Yaros, I would say a slight chance. I don't think there's a great chance, but I would say slight chance. Now the advantage is he has no Muma clause, but he would waive it to come to Edmonton. At least I would think he would. Right? Talks to Matthias Ekholm. He wants to be in a team where he has a chance to win. And make no mistake, I know Edmonton's lost consecutive cups, but nobody's had a better chance to win other than the Florida Panthers the last 2 seasons in the NHL. Don't forget that. So you don't undersell still what Edmonton has to offer. And, go down the list. Ottinger, no. Jake Allen, I don't know. So I'd have to it's a good question. I'm going to have to go through, who I look at. You're probably going to have to find a goalie who maybe doesn't have huge numbers, isn't a big name, but we've seen like kind of Kevin Lankinen, some other guys that Woodley, who studies it way more than I do, as to who is like a good option, right? Do you think Anton Forsberg can be a guy? I don't think so, but who knows? So, but I don't think it's going to be a young goalie. I don't see it. Hey, Gregor, what about the wild card of Carter Hart, depending on the outcome of the trial? I don't see how. I would be floored when you go through everything that happened in that trial, regardless of the outcome. Now, people are going to say not guilty. Okay, fine. Keep in mind, not guilty doesn't mean innocent. When it comes to sexual abuse cases, I think it's very important to remember that. And so, if you have a GM who admitted that, is and has educated himself on, he probably should have been more diligent to ask more questions, would you do that? And why would you? If someone else wants to do it, knock your socks off. I don't see it happening. That to me, why do you have to do it? I guess would be my, and then you've got a local person who's going to have a lot of scrutiny because of it. Because again, not guilty doesn't mean 100% innocent. That's all. So don't think so. Hey guys, what about Joey Decord? Well, if I'm Seattle, that's the goalie I'm keeping. Why am I getting rid of Decord over Grubauer? I know Grubauer was just named to his countries, but good for him. But I think Seattle probably likes Joey Decord more. Now, doesn't mean you don't put in the call, but I don't think that that has to do with it. So, hey, Gregor, can you please not ask a question that has anything to do with their friendship and wanting to play or win together? We're fortunate to have two superstars actually friends. Media asking stupid questions that don't have any potential for good answers is why players might leave when they have a chance. What do you think you say? Yes, we're sacrificing our best chance to win on purpose so we can be on the ice at the same time. PCL worker. First of all, when Connor McDavid says we keep doing the same thing and it didn't work, so you ask the question. What was one of the same things they did, PCL worker? They kept playing them together. Does that not fall under kept doing the same things? We kept flipping the puck out. Didn't work. Right? The truth of the matter is Malkin, Crosby, separate lines. You had Kucherov and Stamkos played on separate lines. Right? Barkov, Kachuk. Now, a lot of people would say Draisaitl and McDavid are better. And I would agree. But coaches in Edmonton. So if we say what's the consistent through all the coaches, McDavid and Draisaitl, and they've always played together. Right now, it's not the player's responsibility to say don't play us together. But as a leader, you might look and say, hey, we've tried this. And guess what? We've come really damn close and it hasn't worked. So next year, if I'm in my exit meeting, I'm Connor McDavid, I'd very, very calmly with Chris Knoblock and Stan Bowman, I would say this in my exit meeting: build a team, bring in guys. So Leon and I are separate 85% of the time. Of course, you can play some shifts together. But in a 1-0 game, you got to load them up. It's not a recipe for success. And it's been proven. It's been proven. And by the way, Leon's already signed PCL worker. Don't give me this garbage. It's the most BS myth. Go online and read the absolute vitriol that, I put it in quotations, anonymous fans say to hockey players. If you think asking a question is going to make a player question whether they want to be here or not, compared to what the garbage is they have to read, Chloe Skinner's getting death threats, and you think a question? Like, come on. You can hate the media, and it makes yourself feel better to blame the media for reasons. Media's never chased anybody out of town. Give me a break. It's the biggest BS myth that gets repeated by trolls online. And then, unfortunately, other people are like, oh, geez. Because sadly, in our society now, people keep repeating the same lie, and they repeat it and repeat it and repeat it, and then people think it's true. Okay? No one's being driven out of town. Give me a break. Right? Has there ever been a real hard article ever written about McDavid or Draisaitl? Stop. I'm giving them accolades all the time. Saying the team is better off having them on separate lines isn't a hard thing. Okay? It's not a hard thing. And damn right I'll ask the coach, because it's not smart. It does not work. And if the players want it, I don't care. I would say as a coach, guys, at the end of the year, we're done. We're going into next year, and I don't care if it's November 20th and we've lost 3 in a row. We're not going to start the game with you two together. We're done with that experiment. It's over. We don't need to do it. End of discussion. We'll play after penalty kills. We'll play a few shifts here and there, but I'm done. We're not doing it, because our goal here is to find things that do work so we can win in the playoffs. Right? Is that the goal, or is it not the goal? The goal isn't to because the players themselves keep telling me the goal is to win the cup. Right? The individual stuff doesn't matter. Right? That's the goal. So then don't lose sight of the goal at any point. And the organization, go get better goaltending. Right? It's not on the players, not on the skaters. Go get better goaltending. Skaters, you can make a commitment to go to the net and stay at the net. And if you don't have guys, and part of that is schematic, it's a little bit of schematic. Don't make me, but when I watch Lundell and Luster-Reinen and everybody go to the net, Anton Lundell is not grittier or tougher than who the Oilers have. He's not grittier or tougher than them. It comes down to a strategy. Now, you don't have to repeat everything Florida does, because every team's going to have a little bit of their own DNA, as they should. But it's clear against Bobrovsky the Oilers did not get enough traffic. I don't see how anybody can debate that. We've outlined it, how many screenshots they had. Not enough. Got to get in his eyes. So, just after 3 o'clock, let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home with no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit. LegacyHeating.ca.
The Sports 1440 update.
Game day in our city with the Edmonton Riverhawks in action down at Remax Field, taking on Bellingham once again. First pitch set for 7:05 in the majors. Jays taking on the Diamondbacks. That gets going just after 5 o'clock. One game going on currently. Mariners and Red Sox tied at 1 apiece in the top of the fourth. The Calgary Stampeders have placed wide receiver Reggie Begelton on the 6-game IL. TSN Farhan Lalji reporting it is a fractured leg. Dustin Crum took part in the first team reps for the Ottawa Redbacks in practice today and may be on track to start on Saturday against the Stamps. Despite the development, head coach Bob Dice would not rule out QB Drew Brown. And from the NFL, Baltimore Ravens signing cornerback Jair Alexander. It's a 1-year deal with a maximum $6 million tag, $2 million in incentives. Alexander was an All-Pro in 2020 and 2022, but has just played in 34 of a possible 68 games since the start of the 2021 season. And in the association, the Buss family is entering an agreement to sell majority ownership of the Lakers to Mark Walter, CEO and chairman of diversified holding company TWG Global. Jeannie Buss will continue to serve in her role as the governor after the sale. And one game in the WNBA tonight, Sun taking on the Mercury just after 5 o'clock. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Tyler Yaremchuk of Oilers Nation and Sportsnet's Shai Davidi. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
The summer drive event is on now at Buick. Right now, get 0% financing for up to 60 months on the 2025 Buick Envision. Make your presence known with available 20-inch alloy wheels with pearl nickel finish. Showcase your style with available quilted perforated front leather-appointed seats. And radiate confidence on any drive with Buick's suite of standard safety features. Get behind the wheel of your Buick Envision today. Ask your Buick dealer for details.
Canada's best bedroom sale continues at The Brick. Make your bedroom a dream come true with incredible savings, like up to 40% off bedroom furniture and select mattresses, up to $1,500 off sectionals, and up to 25% off dining packages, TV stands, wall units, and electric fireplaces. Plus, buy more, save more. Up to an additional $500 off select brands of major appliances. Some exclusions apply. See thebrick.com for details. The Brick, saving you more.
At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we believe that life shouldn't hurt. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't know that sometimes it really hurts. I mean, we've seen people at their worst moments in life, when they feel they have nowhere to turn, or at a time when they felt like their problem just wouldn't ever go away. We've also seen people who thought to themselves, it'll just go away on its own, or this is no big deal. I don't want to bother anyone about this. Don't know where to turn to, or think it's no big deal? Either way, we have the technology, techniques, and skills to help you get back to it, whatever your it may be. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
The Edmonton International Airport.
Well, it's the day after. Welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Superdog's halftime show and more. June 19th at 7 p.m. Tickets on sale now at GoElks.com.
Reports suggest the Canadian taste buds are bored to
Jason
tears.
Gregor, Connor Halley.
My mouth can't handle another dull drink.
Summertime smoothie experts everywhere are
Lots
recommending
of questions,
a watermelon wake up from Booster Juice.
It's so
You know,
smooth,
Legacy
cool,
Heating.
and refreshing.
And ridiculously delicious. Enjoy the Watermelon Wave and Watermelon Explosion smoothies, available all summer long at a Booster Juice near you. Stay cool, Canada.
Booster Juice, Canadian born, blending since 1999.
Is it Riverside Motorsports? No. It's Riverside Motorsports. Over 55 years in business, and people still get it wrong. Guess it's time to get it right.
Riverside Motorsports. What you do for fun is our business.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 3 o'clock, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Andy Strickland saying, welcome back. It is the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Hope you're having a lovely day. Lotto 649. We can get in. Also, hey, maybe you want to flip your focus to a little NBA. Could have the Canadians. Well, 2 Canadians are going to win the NBA championship either way. Either it's going to be the Pacers or it's going to be the Thunder. I think it's going to be the Thunder. They're up 3-2. And Dort and Gilgeous Alexander are 1 win away from winning the Thunder's first NBA title. Get in on that and everything else at PlayAlberta.ca. Also at Lotto 649, 32 million. Andy Strickland report. We talked about this on the show earlier about Frederic and the Oilers signing a contract. I'll be honest, I did not think an 8-year extension is what they're looking at. Strickland's saying they're closing in on a deal that would be 8 years in the range of $4 million per year. So is that going to be 3.9? Is it going to be 4.2? We'll see. But I was told last weekend that a contract is pretty close. So that doesn't seem out of whack to me. I hadn't heard 8 years, though, I'll be honest. And, well, we'll see. I know that people right now will be frustrated because the Trent Frederic you saw in the playoffs is not the normal Trent Frederic. Now, at the same time, you know my stance on long-term deals. If you're elite, okay. Anybody else, I'm not a big fan of it. Now, lower AAV, okay, right? If that somehow was under 4, I'd be like, all right, in 8 years, what's a cap going to be? It's, you know what? Probably not. It's probably going to age fairly well, but we'll see. Hey, guys, the Lucic experiment didn't go well for us. He was much more skilled than Frederic. $4 million on 8 years. That's Hartman, Marcus Foligno. They're significantly better players than Frederic. I don't think what you saw from Trent Frederic this year is what you is the normal for him. He's a better player than that, right? He's somebody that would like to be used on the penalty kill to get more engaged. He was basically just a 5-on-5 guy. So he's actually been more. I know Foligno had the 1 year of 23, but Frederic's had 2 years of 17 plus goals. So over 30 points. Has Foligno had the 1 year where I think he had over 30 points. So now he's big, strong dude. I like Marcus Foligno, don't get me wrong, but I'm not sold that he's a better player than Trent Frederic. So we'll see. Boys, if they sign Frederic to that, is Kane good as gone? I think there's a pretty decent chance. Yes. I think Kane will be on the market. There's no question in my mind. He'll be on the market. Now let's hear, and maybe you don't want to, but you always have to, in order to move on from something, you need closure. So Oiler fans will give you a little bit of closure from the head coach and, why the Oilers just never found their game and how much you have to credit the Panthers for not allowing the Oilers to get their game going.
Chris, Connor said earlier in the season.
Credit to Florida. They're a fantastic team. They've got a lot of good players, and you look at how that roster is made up. And and anytime we did get through it, their goalie played extremely well. We had our chances, but couldn't break, especially early in games. The scoring was very lopsided in the first period, and it was again tonight. But I didn't feel that the chances were skewed that heavily. And that we had good starts and just couldn't get the puck through him. And if we get those through as the goalie, then it's probably a different type of game. But they got a great team, and like I said, anytime we were able to get some scoring chances, their goalie played extremely well throughout the whole series.
He did. Played well, and also always got to see the shots. Let's make no mistake about that. Don't sugarcoat the fact that the Oilers did not get in his eyes often enough. They just didn't. Did trailing the game impact how his team, and really trailing the game for the majority of the playoffs in this final, did that impact how he felt his team played?
Notes about how much we're trailing, how much we're ahead, because after each game, it's just comes down to winning and losing, and it makes it really hard when you don't have a lead to overcome a really good team and a really good team with a good goaltender. So, just fortunately or unfortunately, we just couldn't score those early goals.
No, they couldn't. And it sucks when you're like last night when Reinhart scored, especially when Edmonton, Florida had nothing going. And then Edmonton just gifted them a goal. And when anybody who's listened to the show, what is one thing we've talked about for multiple years? One of the Oilers' continual issues. And you want to talk goaltending? Fine. But it does not surprise me that your frustration with goaltending, the thing that goes hand in hand with that is the Oilers' ability to gift goals. Matthias Ekholm had nobody pressuring him. And he threw an absolute bomb of a pass in the midsection of Bouchard. Bouchard has trouble handling it. They come in, and then Ekholm gets walked right after. So then that's called compounding your errors. We want to compound our finances, right? That's what you want. Hey, compound interest, baby. We love it. But you don't want to compound your mistakes. And that's unfortunately what they did. And it led to some easier goals. And how many easy goals did Florida give Edmonton? I think you know the answer. It was also asked about, the search to find combinations that worked and his decision very early in the game to go with McDavid and Draisaitl together.
Yeah. Through those games, I think we, like I said, I think we started off well midway through the first period, making mistakes and then kind of falling back behind. So same thing tonight. I thought we were off to a great start and it looked like, why would I change it? But, those games 3 through 5 were very similar to that. And they started to take over in the second half of that period. And, right when we made that switch of putting those two on that line together, which was the plan, we get scored against. And then once we were chasing it, we were almost fully committed to, because we're chasing the game, having those two together. So, yes, it was the plan.
Yeah, said it was the plan, and I'm sorry. I appreciate his honesty. I don't agree with it. The numbers do not lie. It wasn't a plan that was working. Not only were they not scoring, McDavid and Draisaitl in 70 minutes together in this final scored 1 goal, 5-on-5, and they got outscored 5-1. Right? It didn't work. When they were on their own lines, they only got outscored by 1 goal. And then when neither one of them was on the ice, it was 4-4 for the Oilers. Right? That was it did not work in this series. I thought it made it too easy for Florida to say, okay, we're going to load up Forsling, Ekblad, Reinhart, Barkov, our best defenders, and we feel we can break even. So not only did they not break even, they actually outscored them. So it's hard to win. I know people talk about the depth of the Oilers. Well, like I said, away from it, without McDavid and Draisaitl on the ice, you're 4-4. You'll take that. You'll be like, hey, guys, if you can play your 22 minutes combined, maybe even less, 19 minutes at 5-on-5, and we're even, and then when we got McDavid and Draisaitl on ice, we think we should be able to outscore them. And I think that's a theory that most could get behind. Now, obviously, the loss of Hyman impacts that. I can't overlook it. Right? The health of Nugent Hopkins, sure. right? I've always said health is the one thing you can try to build a roster deep enough, but certain injuries are just going to be too difficult to overcome at times, especially when you get to the Cup final and the other team you're playing is pretty damn good too, right? Like the Oilers, hey, they won Game 5 against Dallas without Hyman. They had all sorts of momentum going in, right? And they rolled. Awesome. They won 2 games against Florida without him, but they lost 4. I just think it becomes too hard when you have some key injuries to players. Winger depth wasn't their best area. So I would look at that to improve. But my goal would be, if I'm Stan Bowman and Chris Knoblock, my number one goal, I'm going to get a defenseman, sure, but I'm going to construct my forward lines. So I have Draisaitl, McDavid as my 1-2 centers, and I'm going to rotate the wingers around. I'm going to find different guys keep in mind, Leon Draisaitl had a very good regular season despite 2 wingers not scoring a ton. So you can do it. And look at his defensive numbers. They were great. They were excellent. He got Selke votes because his possession numbers 5-on-5 were really good. So you had a track record of it working. Now, I know you're not playing the Florida Panthers every game in the regular season. So that obviously, plays a factor. But goaltending, I think Edmonton needs a long, physical, right shot defenseman who can kill penalties. I think that's a must-have for them in the offseason. You get guys playing their offside in the PK, I don't think it works. So that's, to me, what they need to do. Hey, guys, would you sign Corey Perry, even with the curse? Oof, man, that is tough. 5 Stanley Cup losses in 6 years. God, that's hard, man. But guess what? Hey, keeps coming back. He'd lost 4 and 5 and came back and scored 19 goals and then 10 more in the playoffs. It was an awesome year. And I think it's, again, to me, I want to make a rational decision, not an emotional decision on Corey Perry. Emotional is like, oh, yeah, look at what a great year. I'm bringing him back. Rational is great year. He is a year older. Is he? Because a lot of times, when he had success 5-on-5 is when he played with McDavid and Draisaitl. Because of his speed, you could play him there together, they thought. But I could sign Corey Perry for $1 million, $1.1 million, $1.2 million, sure. But I'm not going to sign him as a player who combined to score 29 goals last year. Because that probably he could, if you're going off that, he might get a lot more. And I don't think Edmonton could do that. Right? They've got a limited budget to spend. They just do. Right? I like a lot of things that Corey Perry brought, and I'd like him in the room, and I think he's a calming influence. He shows up, and he gives you everything he's got. No one could question the work ethic and the commitment of Corey Perry. And I think there's a lot of value in that. But I'm not overpaying for it. So that's where I would come out on Corey Perry. So hey guys, Knoblock kind of said he thought Bobrovsky was a difference in the series. I don't know if I agree with that. 0-0 Knoblock makes the change. First shift goals against. Should have ended that idea. Yeah. I didn't love it. I did not love loading up that line together. And I don't think the numbers line. Now people are going to tell me, yeah, but Gregor, look at their expected goals. Guess what? Expected goals mean nothing. Okay? The whole regression to the mean means nothing in a small sample size. Okay? If you're out shooting them, but you're not outscoring, and if you're out shooting them by never having traffic in front, who cares? Because that's what happened. Go look at the shots when McDavid and Draisaitl are on the ice. Yeah, they're getting shots. No one in front. So they're getting shots, but you're not beating Bobrovsky with no traffic. So again, it's a little bit of hollow. All that matters in the playoffs is, do you outscore the opposition? Yes or no? You don't get bonus point. There's no, over 82 games, this will average out. Nope. It's 7 games, sometimes 6, sometimes 5, the odd case 4. Right? You don't get bonus points for outshooting and outchancing the team. You get a win if you outscore them. And that's all that matters. And they didn't outscore them in the Cup final. They didn't outscore them. right? They got outscored pretty bad, 5-1. Right, like 1 goal in 70 minutes. McDavid on his own away from Draisaitl had 2 goals, on the ice for 2 goals in 40 minutes. Draisaitl was on for 3 goals in 40 away from McDavid. So it wasn't working. And that's, to me, one thing. It's one element. There's other things. Right shot defenseman who kills penalties. Goaltending change. And I'm building my forwards so Draisaitl and McDavid are staying 90% of the time on their own lines. Maybe even more. That's how I'm building the team. Because I think that's going to be your best chance to win. You've tried it by loading them up. It doesn't work. It can help in the first round. It can help in the second. It doesn't help you in the cup final. It's proven. It doesn't. Quick break. We'll return. Your Remchuk joins us. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. Greg's, what about Nugent Hopkins? Doesn't win enough draws to be a third-line center. Don't see him as a first-line winger from Hammer. Yeah, well, when he's starting to age, I thought Nugent Hopkins, he was playing well. Then he got hurt, right? Like in the Dallas series, he was probably their best forward for the first 4 games. I still don't mind him. His cap hit isn't bad. And if Nugent Hopkins, what if Nugent Hopkins ends up being your third line left winger? Look at the third line in Florida. It's a pretty damn good line, right? I don't have a problem with that. So if that's what he gravitates towards over time, I have no problem with it. Nugent Hopkins play my team. So I don't see it. If you don't think he's a first line left winger, 5-on-5 scorer, there's some data that would back that up. But if he ends up being a third line guy who kills penalties, can be good on your power play, because he is. Their power play's been really good for a long time. And if that's what he's doing, I'm okay with that. I'm totally fine with that. Quick break. We'll return. The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hey, Alberta. The all-new Play Alberta app is here. Casino, sports betting, lottery, all in one app, right on your phone. And because it's Play Alberta, you know it's safe, secure, and reliable. Download it now and play over 500 online casino games, live dealer tables, and unique games you'll love. Plus, bet on sports from anywhere in the province. You in? Download Play Alberta now from your phone's app store and deposit using promo code OIL for a $100 casino bonus on the house. That's promo code OIL for a $100 casino bonus.
At Fitted Golf, we know that you continue to believe.
It's not my clubs. Really, it's my swing.
Except it's already June, and you're still not playing the game you want because you continue to insist it's not your clubs. Except it really is your clubs, and we prove it every day. Fitted Golf customers continue to be amazed at how good they actually are when they use the right clubs for their swing. Why would you play the game you love but not love the way you play it? From beginners to pros, Fitted Golf makes all the difference. Visit fittedgolf.ca.
Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Center. Come for Canada's largest trade show, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience, but it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Center's new cutting-edge feature screens, spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-471-7380 or visit EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
It was a heck of a ride. Thanks to the Edmonton Oilers for a fun playoff run. Now it's time to turn to football, soccer, baseball, and other summer sports from the team at Sports 1440, Edmonton's sports leader.
McDonald's summer drink days are back, which means it's officially summer. Enjoy your refreshing small Coca-Cola or small iced coffee for just $1 all summer. Summer's booming with summer drink days. Excludes flavored iced coffee at participating McDonald's in Canada. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
It's that time again, Edmonton.
Dig the Schwab in.
Schwab Chev Buick GMC knows that it's playoff season.
Right, Schwabbing now.
But even with some late nights ahead, their boss still has the Schwab team fighting Schwabbing hard to get you into the perfect ride.
That price isn't Schwabbing good enough.
Come score a great deal on your next vehicle with up to $12,000 off 2025 diesel trucks at Schwab Chevrolet Buick GMC in Leduc. Dig the Schwabbin'.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Use promo code Gregor and get 20% off your order all day, every day. That's promo code Gregor before entering your order at papajohns.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
325. Welcome back. Jason Gregor. Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Lots of sensible text coming in today. Appreciate it. No name calling. No one saying players suck. They're brutal. They're just actually a lot of rational text. I like it. You're disappointed. You know, the team isn't that far away. Right? Like, they're being close to be knocking on the door. You can't get much closer than the Oilers the last 2 years. You just can't, right? They played a really good team. Last year, I probably thought Edmonton might have deserved a better fate if we're being real. Right? They couldn't score in the first few games of that series. But this year, Florida controlled a lot of the series. They got ahead lots, and they were just better. They were better this year. Might be hard to admit, but they were better this year. I thought Edmonton was probably closer last year in ways. Different teams, everything's different, whatever. But ultimately, you don't get the result you want. And it's crushing for the Oilers. It's crushing for fans. You know, I saw it. You know, I saw it with my 11-year-old. He was not a happy camper last night. And I'm sure many parents are in the same boat. You're trying to explain to your kids, like, you know, they get caught up in it. Like, it was an unbelievable time for him, right? And you get caught up in it. And now adults, you get caught up in it too, right? But as adults, maybe you can rationalize a little bit. You probably have a little bit more emotional control than young kids. So, you know, it's pretty devastating for him. So I get it. So I can only imagine, like, you know, fans, you put in a lot of it. You spend way more money than he does going to the games and investing your time. And it's hard, right? It's hard. So I'll say this, though, as hard as it is. Well, in a way, it's probably harder than the Decade of Darkness, but also infinitely more enjoyable. Like, for 10 years, you had very little to get excited about. You had glimmers of, oh, the draft lottery. But that was really about it. You've had like 2 good months each year. A lot of fun, a lot of victories, a lot of confidence, a lot of parties. Everything's good. Even in the regular season, you won way more than lost the last few years. So that's all good. But when it gets close like that, so imagine your pain. Then you think about how the players feel. Like, I don't even know how to imagine. Like, I lost a championship in the league I played at. It wasn't in the NHL. But at the time, that's the highest league you're playing at that stage of your life. It's hard. I get it. But, you know, it's not like it was my job. I wasn't dedicated to it. So, but I have a small sense. I think anybody who's played sports and lost a championship, you probably have a small understanding, but it was never your job. So you could go home and now you're in school, or the next day you're playing, like, you kind of move on from it. You're an NHL player and you get to the Stanley Cup Final and you lose 2 years in a row. I think it's hard to move on. Let's get to the Oil Report, brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton. Stop in. The Discovery Days sales event continues on now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. XC90 plug-in hybrids, 1.49% financing. Save an additional $5,000 at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com as we welcome in Tyler Yaremchuk from Oilers Nation and Daily Face-Off. And Ty, it was a tough one for the Edmonton Oilers, and it seemed like, man, when Florida scored first, I was like, and the way they scored and how they really had generated nothing until that blatant giveaway, terrible play by Echo on the pass, and then he gets walked, and you're just like, here they go again. And then 2 shifts later, McDavid and Draisaitl are together, and I'm like, I don't like it. And unfortunately for Edmonton, it didn't go the way they wanted.
No, it didn't. And to me, like, yeah, this one goes in, but it's kind of, you know, at the moment, okay, Edmonton had played pretty well. They were generating some looks. They were physical. Bobrovsky was bobbling pucks. But to me, it was that 2-0 goal with 45 seconds left where it was like, oh, man, I have a hard time thinking just the way at that point, it would be 4 periods have gone. Hard to envision a world where Edmonton was going to find a way to basically outscore the Panthers by 3 goals in the final 40 minutes of that game. So it was a heartbreaker. I mean, it sucks that the final 2 games, I mean, through 4 games in this series, we were talking about it being just an all-timer between these 2 sides. And while it still is probably one of the better Cup finals we've seen in recent memory, the fact that the last 2 games were as relatively uncompetitive as they were, it's a disappointing way to see the Oilers go out. It's a disappointing way for what could have been a historic final to finish.
It's true. So, you know, the Oilers players, you probably never get over a loss like this from players who have lost in the Cup. Now it's 2 years in a row. I'm sure that's hard. As a Buffalo Bills fan, you're like, oh, great, halfway there. So, but looking at the Oilers, and you know what? Hey, you don't have much time. free agency is less than 2 weeks away. There's reports, and there's been reports about Frederic and the Oilers signing. I think you and I actually discussed this last week. We thought, hey, you know what, 3-year deal. Now we're hearing Andy Strickland saying closing in on an 8-year deal. Well, are you surprised? I'm not surprised they're going to sign. I'm a little surprised by the length, and then we'll see what the AAV is. What do you make of this deal for Frederic? And do you think if he does get it that long of a term, is that officially the end of Evander Kane?
Yeah, I mean, I'd kind of heard some rumblings that this deal was done when I was down in Florida for games 3 and 4. The AAV I was hearing was more 3.5, not 4 million. Again, 4 seems a little bit high. 3.5 seemed a little bit high as well, to be honest. And yeah, it either means the end of Evander Kane or the end of Victor Arvidsson. I figured Arvidsson was kind of as good as gone, but it's an interesting contract to drop. I mean, it's coming. The Donato deal just got done in Chicago, 4 years, $4 million. I think people are going to be surprised at some of these mid-range contracts that get handed out this summer. And Jay Fresh on Twitter, who's a good follow with kind of his analytics and his player cards, he points out that with the way the cap is projecting, by the year 2030, a $4 million cap hit in today's dollars is a $2.8 million cap hit. So you do kind of need to factor in that, like, when these big, long extensions get signed, they're going to look better and better as it goes on because the cap's just going to continue climbing. We're no longer in a flat cap era. So, I mean, the Oilers are going to have to move a couple of veteran forwards off this roster. Arvidsson, Kane, both candidates. I think Adam Henrique is a guy who should be a candidate. And I don't hate this Frederic deal. He's a versatile player. Again, while the cap hit seems high, I like to think you're buying a little bit low here. Like, if he can be a 15 to 20 goal guy who plays on the wing but can pinch hit at center when you need him to, like, maybe he's like Nugent Hopkins light without the power play upside. So I don't mind it at all. I think it's fine to take a risk on a 27-year-old like this at a relatively low number when the cap's just going to keep climbing.
True. Yeah. And like the Frederic deal, I don't think is going to hamper them. I do think, but hey, the cap, there's only limited cap space next year, right? Because of Bouchard's upcoming deal, because of Draisaitl's upcoming deal. So, they're still going to have to move some guys. Victor Arvidsson, I've been saying it for a few months. I'd heard that Victor Arvidsson and the Oilers are likely going to part ways when the season ends. And I still firmly believe that. I don't think Jeff Skinner is going to be back. Maybe Evander Kane. So there'll be some changes like Connor Brown. I don't know. What they'll do, I guess, depends on cost, right? Like, there's always some changes to a team. Like, Florida won the cup, and look at the changes like that they had, right? Like, look at how many guys went out there to carry the cup who had never won last year, right? Like, they had significant changes on that team. So that's even when you win, there's going to be some changes. So I don't expect anything less for the Oilers. They are going to have to change their goalie. I think it's kind of obvious now, Ty. The question is, like, where do you go? There's not like I went through the list. There's no clear-cut top one goalie that's available. So they're going to have to find like maybe a guy to split duties with, or find someone that they think is on the upside somewhere.
Yeah, I talked about this on my show today, but what's the downside? Because I'm looking at the St. Louis Blues, and I'm going to talk about Joel Hofer here, who's one of the few players on their roster who's not under contract. So the Blues right now have $5 million in cap space with 14 forwards, 7 defensemen, and 1 goalie signed. I believe that they're married to Jordan Binnington, and they're in win now mode, and they want to keep Jordan Binnington. So if you were to go to Joel Hofer and offer sheet him for, roughly $4 million, get right below that threshold where it's only a second-round pick for compensation, you were to give him, say, a 4-year deal. He's a 24-year-old. If you believe he has legitimate starter upside, then I don't think you have a problem with paying him that kind of money, because even paired with Stuart Skinner, your goaltending tandem next year is still only a total of $7 million. That would be in the bottom half of the NHL. If the Blues match it, it's no harm, no foul. You just threw the contract out there, and hey, now you get to look at the Blues and go, all right, you're stuck with a $10+ million tandem, and you probably weren't planning on that. So the worst case is you get some revenge on St. Louis and throw a bit of a curveball into their cap picture. The upside would be maybe you have a legitimate 1A guy in Joel Hofer, who's 24 years old, who can be your starter for the next little bit, or at least work in tandem with Stuart Skinner for the next season. Then you reevaluate from there. Him and Skinner were teammates in the WHL as well. I believe they were a tandem. So, I would look at something like that. Maybe there's a young goalie out there somewhere who you can pluck out, because I don't know if I love the idea. Like, Jake Allen's the only good name on the UFA market. Let's say Jake Allen's getting a 4x4 offer from someone like a Utah because they just want a good experienced backup. Would you rather go 4x4 with an older guy like Allen, or would you rather take a chance on some upside and take a stab at offer sheeting Joel Hofer?
Well, yeah. Like I wonder, does St. Louis, would they trade Binnington? Right? Like I wonder.
But then force their hand at that, right?
Right. And maybe you do. The thing about an offer sheet is now, depending on how high you go, like you'd have to go fairly high for the Blues not to match, right? And that's always the risk. Like, it's not going to be high enough that you're going to have to really give up anything significant as far as picks go. So that part's good, but it is an option to look at. If it makes sense. I don't want a revenge offer sheet because we saw that in Carolina and that was a terrible idea. Kotkaniemi is still a brutal decision, right? So if it's calculated, it makes sense. And I know Kevin Woodley's talked highly about him, so he's an option, right, to consider. And, who knows, maybe a trade's eligible there. But I think St. Louis, I know, like, they might look and say, hey, man, Binnington just won the Four Nations for Canada. Maybe now's the time to trade him. His value's at an all-time high.
Yeah, I mean, they absolutely could. And I don't think it's so much like the Kotkaniemi thing. You're right. You don't want to get into a mess. And I'm not sitting here saying you go offer sheet Joel Ho for $5 by $6 million and give up a first and a third round pick. Like, I think it's got to be right in that $4.6 million range where it's a second round pick going the other way. And it would eat up almost every penny of available cap space that the Blues have. And I know they're trying to move out some contracts like Justin Falk's on the block. And, who knows what they end up doing with Braden Shen. So again, if the Blues wanted to make it work, they could absolutely match that, but maybe St. Louis sits there and goes, no, Jordan Binnington is our guy. We like the way he performed in the Four Nations. We like the way he played in the playoffs. We don't want to, move on from him. Again, he's 31 years old. It probably would be the right move, but that's just, to me, again, the conversation is more like the goaltending market's thin. Like, if Anaheim wants a first round pick for John Gibson, like, I'm not trading a first round pick for John Gibson at $6 million. Like, that's just too high. Like, the trade market's not great. The free agency market is very, very thin. You might just have to get creative with something here. Maybe there's a trade option that we're just not hearing about that ends up shaking loose somewhere. But again, it's just, I don't think you can run back both Pickard and Skinner again next season. So Bowman's going to have to get creative.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. He'll have to make some moves there. Now, on the back end, I think one priority is they need a right shot, long, physical defenseman who can kill penalties. Right? Obviously, being a puck mover, that's nice for sure, but they need someone who can kill penalties. Their penalty kill was terrible all year long, and they never really fix it on the right side. They need one because right now you have Bouchard as your right shot penalty kill guy. That's it, right? All the other guys are lefties, and I don't love that on the penalty kill. So I think that's something that they need. What do you make of their defense? I don't expect John Klingberg back. Is it automatic those other five are back, or do you think the Oilers make a big splash? Is there a chance Darnell Nurse gets moved?
I don't really see it. And I know a bunch of people are throwing out the comparables because, he has a no movement clause. That's obviously a big hurdle. People are saying, well, as long as you tell him you want to move him, no one's going to want to, be somewhere where they're not welcome. And I think it's different. Like Mika Zibanejad, for example, the Rangers told him, hey, we don't want you here. And he's got to put up his hand and been like, I have a no move and I love playing in New York. And I know people are saying management can make him uncomfortable if they want to, but like, Darnell Nurse is loved in that room. He's close with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and all of those guys. He might sit there and go, okay, management doesn't want me here. The guys in the room want me here. It's not like he's got to go to work every day and deal with what Connor McDavid being angry with him because he wouldn't waive his no movement clause. Like, that's not how that's going to play out. So could you ask Darnell Nurse to waive? Sure. Where this is totally different from, say, the Seth Jones thing. That was a bottom feeder team sending a guy with a full no move to a cup contender. That was such an easy yes for Seth Jones. Is there an easy yes out there for Darnell Nurse if he wants to presumably continue playing for a Stanley Cup and play on a contender? Like, I don't know. Toronto is a hometown team. Would you do a Morgan Rielly for Darnell Nurse swap? I'm not overly interested in making that kind of trade because I'm not sure how well Morgan Rielly's going to age. And it's cheaper. You'd save some money for sure. But I don't know if that's a great solution. Like, I don't see a fit out there to make it realistic. People were throwing out Pierre-Luc Dubois. Look, LA got out of that contract. They got him to waive. And it's like, yeah, because he was miserable there and he needed a fresh start. Is Darnell Nurse miserable going to back-to-back Cup Finals in Edmonton? No. So I don't think the Nurse thing is realistic just because I don't think you're going to be able to get him to waive.
Well, you never know, right? You never truly know what goes on. Depends on the conversation and, who's it. No movement clause to me, ultimately. Like, look, Chris Kreider, it didn't happen right away, but it happened. Jacob Trouba, it happened. And Mika Zibanejad, Ty, it might take another 6 months, but it's going to happen, right? So all the no movement clause does is gives you a say in where you go. It doesn't really completely stop you from getting traded because they'll find a way to trade a guy. And hey, some people might not like how they go about doing it, but teams have done it. So I think that's, that's maybe kind of the harsh part of the business. But if a team really wants to trade a guy, even if he has no movement clause, they'll find a way to trade him.
Yeah, that's fair. And I mean, New York obviously did the thing with Trouba where it was like, hey, man, we're going to put you on waivers and we think like Columbus is going to claim you. So you can go to Anaheim or you can go to Columbus. Is there some way the Oilers could do that? Is there a Columbus or a Utah out there who'd put their hand up and be like, oh, yeah, we'd claim him if he went on waivers. But again, I guess this is different because he's a no movement, so he can't even be waived. So it's a non-conversation with Darnell Nurse. But yeah, maybe you can find a home for him. Freeing up that money would be huge. But then again, you'd have a bit of a hole on your blue line you'd have to fill. Like, do you want to get out of Darnell Nurse to go pay Vlad Gavrikov $7.5 million on a long-term deal? Like, I don't know if that's a great solution either. So that one's a sticky situation. Like, to me, move Arvidsson, move Evander Kane. There's $9 million in cap space you've freed up. Go spend that on upgrades. I don't think it's going to get to the Darnell Nurse point. The other conversation is Matthias Ekholm. Like, does he need surgery? Is he going to miss time next season? He's 35, 36 years old. He's got one more year on his deal. Does he want to rehab an injury for 6 months to come back and another crack at things? Again, the Ekholm thing, if he needs LTIR, that's a conversation too.
Yeah, it's fair to kind of see where it goes. He just turned 35, right? So this will be his 35-year-old season. He turns 36 in May. And like I look at Ekholm and it's hard to evaluate a player coming off the injury that he came off of, because my understanding was they rehabbed it pretty good, but still, he obviously wasn't the same player. Like, I still can't get over that grenade that he shipped to Bouchard, and then the follow up where he just gets walked. Like, that's not how Ekholm plays. So, when you lack confidence or stuff, that's what we see. So even good players can do it. Because I look at Ekholm and say, man, if Ekholm ends up moving down my lineup, and I have to sign him for less money next year, I'd still take Matthias Ekholm. I think there's lots of parts of his game I like.
Yeah, provided he's healthy. And again, the left side of your blue line, that's Ekholm, Nurse, and Wallman in whatever order you want to slot them. That's probably fine to me. So then are we at a point where, like you talked about needing to have a right shot? I love Brett Kulak. He had some really rough moments in the back half of these playoffs. I thought had some good games, but definitely some rough ones too. Do you look at moving on from Kulak just to sign a right-handed version of Kulak? Can you find a right-handed version of Kulak somewhere? Like, again, it's not even a knock on the player. I don't even dislike the contract at 2.75, and he's only 31. He should have good hockey in front of him. But is that a spot where you just go, okay, we can get a different look here. We can get a right-handed option in and change up the way at least we line up?
Yeah, well, definitely. No, they need a right defenseman. No question in my mind, right? They need a right shot defenseman. To me, that's obvious. So we'll see how it goes. Ty, enjoy it. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the rundown. Have a great day.
Sounds good. See you, Greggs.
There you go. That's Tyler Remchuk from Oilers Nation and Daily Face Off. When we return, you know what? We're going to put a little positive spin on some things, because there is something that's going on that's quite exciting. We'll discuss it next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
You don't want to miss the party of the summer on the Rock.
Sunday, June 29th.
Catch Edmonton's #1 party band, Bar Kells, live at OTR.
Drink specials all night.
$5.25 highballs.
$5 PBR.
Oh, and we can't forget the $5 Jaeger and Jameson.
Yeah, it's going to be that kind of party.
Live, loud, and legendary.
Sunday, June 29th.
At On the Rock.
Jasper Ave 118th.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies. With state-of-the-art motor coaches, we provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation. Our seatbelt-equipped buses have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, call 1-877-748-0991. or visit silentrides.ca.
Get ready to revolutionize your job site with Edmonton Kubota's game-changing compact construction equipment. From mini excavators and skid steers to track loaders, carriers, and utility vehicles, they have a model to fit every need, all powered by legendary Kubota diesel engines. These machines are built for performance and reliability. Transform your work with Edmonton Kubota's top-of-the-line compact equipment. Visit them today and see why they're the name you can trust for power and precision.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. What's the best way to beat the tariffs? By Canadian. Cantork's products are not only made in Canada, but right here in Edmonton. Save money, support Canada at cantork.com.
He's Alberta's sports authority and lead touchdown winner of his family's backyard flag football games. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
It's actually a really good line. Last name ever, first name greatest. Oh, it's a really good line, actually. Yeah, welcome back to the show. Jason Gregor here at Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you're having an awesome day. I know it's a little bit of a city and morning. I will say, though, the text line, very, 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 I think, sane. And, obviously filled with some disappointment, but like no over-the-top attacks on any players or anything, just saying, hey, you know what? There's got to be some tweaks here. The Oilers are good. Like, it's hard to win in pro sports. It's hard to win in MLB, NBA, NFL, CFL. Pick the league. It's hard. And it sucks when you get close and you don't win. And the Oilers will try to lick their wounds. And I'll say this, though. Like, the only team that got closer to them was Florida 2 years in a row. So there's 30 other teams that would rather be in the Oilers' position. As much as it's difficult right now, you'd at least had a chance 2 years in a row. Like, a legit chance. You're in the final. You're in game 6 and 7. Like, you're there. But tough. Well, the Oilers are losing last night. There's always in sports, sometimes you need an uplifter. Well, there was an uplifter as we get to our MLB report, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling Home. The no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit, legacyheating.ca. And it just kind of happened almost right in between the game. But the Jays were down 4-3, wasn't looking good. And then Bichette hits a homer to tie it. And then Barger hits a walk-off to win it. As Shai Davidi joins us from Rogers Sportsnet. And Shai, the Jays, I'll say this, man, like for the last 6, 8, 7 weeks here, like they've been legitimately good.
Yeah, they certainly have. And a lot of the areas of concern that we talked about a great deal into April and early May have certainly corrected, and hitting has come around. They've gotten some more runs. I think the Blue Jays still feel they have a little bit more in the tank from an offensive perspective. They've papered through one of the problems that I thought could be a major issue for this team, which has been Max Scherzer's absence and no real obvious candidate to fill in for him. But they've been 9-4 in the games that would have been in his spot since he hit the injured list. So that's a gap that they've managed really well. And so a lot of things have definitely come together, and I started to see this team show flashes of what it could be.
You look at the Jays and, what it could be. So I guess, Shai, like here we are now. We're coming up to the end of June, right? It's almost 3 months of the year. Like the Jays, they're right in the mix as a wild card team, right? Like they're right there. And so I think it's fair to say that's kind of who they are right now. What their starting pitching, the depth of it. Their top end guys are good, but the depth. How concerned is that for you?
Well, I mean, it still is a problem, right? When one of the spots in your rotation is bullpen game, that's not ideal, right? And so Max Scherzer is doing his second rehab start with AAA Buffalo tonight at Worcester. That's going to be a very important one because if all goes well, it comes out of it healthy. It's very possible that he's starting for the Blue Jays next week in Cleveland. And so all of a sudden that really changes the picture a little bit. And Bowden Francis had been problematic. He's on the injured list right now dealing with a shoulder issue. If Scherzer returns, it allows the Blue Jays to move the bullpen game into the Bowden Francis spot. And as I mentioned, they're 9-4 in those days, so they've managed that relatively well. And then if you have Scherzer, if he's given the Blue Jays better than a 6 and change ERA, well, that's another upgrade that you have right there. And suddenly that looks better. Now, is the Scherzer thumb issue going to come back at some point this season? Is there some other bit of attrition? I mean, it's still thin for the Blue Jays. And if things continue at this pace, I'd expect that to be one area they attack ahead of the trade deadline. But there at least is a pathway to a bit more stability that they've had, with a lot of it hinging on Scherzer's outing tonight.
What have you heard about Scherzer?
Well, I saw him in Buffalo when he made his first rehab start on Friday. And, there are a lot of the same signs or a lot of the same things that he was saying, where it's like, it's all about my recovery. I'm getting the work in. I think throughout this season, what we've seen is that Scherzer can be effective if he's on the mound. Because the stuff still plays, the competitiveness is there, the abilities, the fire, like all that is there. It's just, can he do it physically? And that's what's frustrating for him. It's definitely what's frustrating for the Blue Jays. It's just, you see it, and it's like, this looks like it could be serviceable, maybe even more than that on occasion. And it's still Max Scherzer, so the upside for more exists. But again, it's that thumb issue is one that's been dogging him for a few seasons now. Right now, he's in a good spot with it. As he continues to put on more work and starts having some more attrition, does that degrade? That's possible. I think that's the fear. But if Max Scherzer is healthy, I think he could be a very good piece for this team.
What about Francis? Last year he came at the end of the season. It was like, oh my goodness, this guy looks like he's really legit. And then, it's kind of their wake up call. They got a little bit more of a scouting report on him. I thought obviously he had a few starts. He really struggled. And then the last one, he's still got some stuff from him. So where are you at on the young pitcher like that? Like, is this guy that's, salvageable? I know he's on the IR now, but is this one that you still believe, can be salvageable as a fifth starter?
Oh, for sure. Right. Like, yeah. I think last year, the second half, when he's carrying a no-hitter, into the midway point or past in every other start, is probably skewed some perceptions of him. But he doesn't have to be that. Like, he just has to be a guy who can give you 5-6 innings with a 4 and change ERA, and that's certainly within his capabilities. His stuff is he has upside for better than that on certain outings. And really, like, from just a raw stuff perspective, there isn't major difference year over year. But in terms of location, that has been problematic. Like, he's been in the middle of the zone, especially with his fastball, far more than he's been before. A lot of falling behind, which makes his secondary stuff a bit less effective. There's been a few pieces there that just haven't fit together properly, but all the ingredients are there for the right mix. So I think this time on the IL will give him a chance to, one, get his shoulder in a better spot. And I don't think the Blue Jays are looking at that as the cause, but of his troubles, but something that they can fix. And then, when he's doing some rehab starts, he's got an opportunity to maybe correct some things, get in the pitching lab, try to identify some issues, and get himself back to a spot where he can be more productive.
Is Kirk the second best catcher in baseball right now?
It's interesting. I mean, I think it's pretty clear where Cal Raleigh lies, and the numbers on guys like Adley Rutschman aren't maybe where you would typically expect them to be, but from when you're looking at sort of a guy who's a two-way performer, it's hard to make a case against Alejandro Kirk right now. And the offense is back to or similar levels of where he was in 22 when he was an all-star. And the defense is better now. He's calling a better game. He's improved. The throwing has improved dramatically. He's not shutting down an opponent's running game completely, but you have to be a really good base stealer to swipe a bag off him. So a lot of those pieces have really come together. The framing, obviously, I didn't mention, but is obviously a key part of this, and something that the Blue Jays and most teams in baseball value extremely highly, and he's elite at that. So, Alejandro Kirk has really put all the pieces together and is making, at least to this point, the Blue Jays' decision to extend him, make that look like a really smart decision.
And one last one for you, Shai. What about Barger and just kind of his emergence here this year? Like, man, he's had some huge hits for the Jays.
Yeah, I mean, the Blue Jays needed someone like Barger to emerge, and you can't say enough about how important he is. I mean, you look at it right now. It's like yesterday, today, he's second in the lineup between Bo and Vlad, and that's the degree of both impact and confidence that he's earned himself from the club. So, yeah, the raw tools have always been there, but I also think about yesterday on the walk-off homer, the way that he talked about that at bat against Shelby Miller, where he's down a strike. He ends up taking a massive swing at a fastball, and he thinks to himself, okay, Miller's going to see how aggressive I was with that swing. Splitter is his out pitch. He's probably going to come to me with a splitter. He does that. He's ready for it. He sends it over the wall. So he's thinking his at-bats at a higher level too, and I think that's what you're seeing that match up with the skills, and that's translating.
Jai, it's always good to catch up with you, man. We appreciate it. Enjoy it, and we'll be talking a lot more Jays throughout the summer. Thanks for your time.
You got it, guys. Take care.
Shai Davidi joins us from Rogers Sportsnet, and you know what? I know Oilers fans. The great part about it being a sports fan is you can have multiple love interests at one time, and you don't get in trouble for it. It's great. It's almost healthy, right? You love your Oilers. You're like, great. But then, maybe you're an Elks fan. You're a Riverhawks fan. You're a Stingers fan. Blue Jays, whatever. You got a Cincinnati Reds. I don't care. Pick your team. Lots of other things going on. Maybe you're an F1 fan. Golf, you've got other things. I know it doesn't fill it exactly, probably the passion, because when it's in your city and you go to the games or you go to the Moss Pit or you have neighborhood parties, like, it is different. I understand that, right? It's different. But you know what? You got an Elks game on Thursday. And man, I was there today for a walkthrough, buddy. It was an unbelievable day outside today. I actually, as I was walking back up to the press box, I just sat in the stands and I'm like, God, like when it is sunny out, I love going to a football game. Like, I love it. I'll sit in the bleachers at the Riverhawks, same thing. Like, it's just relaxing. The sun's on you. You got sandals on. You got some shorts. You got the shade. You're feeling cool. Oh, it was great. Like, honestly, just sat there and kind of relaxed, and because you're looking out there, and I was thinking about, like, just because so many people had, from leaving my house, I stopped in at the bank, and people at the bank were just like, oh, like everybody's like, God, they lost. Like, it was like a city in mourning, really, and almost like a northern province in mourning, and fans everywhere. And I understand it. I think it's totally acceptable. It's fine, right? You wanted your team desperately to win. And unfortunately, it didn't happen. And there'll be people, though, that'll brush themselves off. You'll be like, you know what? I gotta go back to a sporting event because I'm a sports fan. I love it. And you know what? The Jays hey, maybe you'll watch them. Maybe you'll watch the Thunder. Canadians could win a championship. That's nice. Then you got the Elks. Had a good chat with Trey Ford. We'll play that tomorrow on the show. Just about the offense. Felt like they had a really good week. There's some things they learned in that week one and what they have to look at to get better at, for sure. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Take a quick break. When we return, coming up in the third hour of the show, Rob Shrimp will join us. We'll continue on. Here's some more of your thoughts. We've got a lot of text flying in, some good suggestions on what's going to be an interesting offseason. The Oilers, the good news is, hey, you are for 2 years, you're the second best team in the league. 30 other teams would like to be where you are. You've got some good pieces, but you got to move around. Now it's Stan Bowman comes in. He's the mad scientist. He has to move the puzzle pieces because right now you've got the puzzle filled except one piece. Well, maybe two this year because they needed, 2 more wins. Last year was 1. That's all you needed. Like, you're close. You're not that far. You're close. So we'll talk about just, few things that can move to help make that final piece work. On the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. Stop in at Fountain Tire before you head out on the road. Maybe I got to get out of town. I got to go camp, and I just need to, I need to drown my sorrows away from everybody else. Well, you want your car to get you there, your truck to get you there in one piece. Brakes, alignment, tires, they'll do it all. FountainTire.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Andy Strickland reporting the Edmonton Oilers and forward Trent Frederic agreeing to terms on a 8-year extension worth an AAV of $4 million. Frederic was acquired from the Boston Bruins ahead of the trade deadline. In 23 games, the 27-year-old had 1 goal, 3 helpers, in 25 penalty minutes. And the Nashville Predators have acquired forward Eric Haller from the Devils in exchange for Jeremy Hansel and a 4th-round pick in 2025. Game day in the city. Riverhawks taking on the Bells. First pitch, 7:05 in the majors. Jays taking on the Diamondbacks just after 5 o'clock. Right now, Red Sox lead the Mariners 3-1. That's in the top of the 8th. In the CFL, Calgary Stampeders facing receiver Reggie Begelton on the 6-game IL with what Farhan Lalji is reporting a fractured leg. Out in Ottawa, Dustin Crum taking all the first-team reps for the Red Blacks at practice today and maybe on track to start Saturday's game against the Stamps. Despite the development, head coach Bob Dice would not rule out Drew Brown. And in the NFL, the Baltimore Ravens signing former Packers cornerback Jair Alexander. The Buss family is entertaining an agreement to sell majority ownership of the Los Angeles Lakers to Mark Walter, CEO and chairman of diversified holding company TWG Global. Jeannie Buss will continue to serve in her role as governor after the sale. The reported cost is approximately $10 billion, the largest sale of a professional sports franchise in history. And in the WNBA tonight, the Sun hosts the Mercury tip-off just after 5 o'clock. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by former Oiler and NHLer Rob Schremp, and we'll ask 5 questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray Radio Station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
Wow, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a package
Bringing every
vibes. More than just a liquor store, we're a community.
Last
Alberta's
name
best,
ever
the
for-
one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
Hey, Alberta, the all-new Play Alberta app is here. Casino, sports betting, lottery, all in one app, right on your phone. And because it's Play Alberta, you know it's safe, secure, and reliable. Download it now and play over 500 online casino games, live dealer tables, and unique games you'll love. Plus, bet on sports from anywhere in the province. You in? Download Play Alberta now from your phone's app store and deposit using promo code OIL for a $100 casino bonus on the house. That's promo code OIL for a $100 casino bonus.
I'm Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And I'm Zach Hyman. And when we're not making juicy, sweet passes or having my goals disallowed, we're working for Legacy Heating and Cooling. You know, guys used to call me a plumber. And now they call you an AC repairman. Nice.
Hey, guys, you're not here to fix air conditioners. You're here to sing the jingle.
Oh.
Well.
Okay. Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
No payments and no interest for 1 year from qualified installers. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Noodle, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, noodle, nood. Noodle, noodle, nood, 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 noodle, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, noodle, nood. Noodle, noodle, nood, 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 noodle, noodle, nood.
Troll down to Oodle Noodle tonight because dine-in is open.
When you get into a new Tundra, you might suddenly find yourself towing a vintage wooden boat to the lake. Not because you know anything about boats, or would, but because you know you can. All that's left to do is drive it home. Get in and go right now at Toyota, where you can lease a 2025 Tundra 4x4 double cab SR5 from $154 weekly for 60 months at 5.39% with $7,199 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer today.
At Fitted Golf, we know that you continue to believe.
It's not my clubs, really. It's my swing.
Except it's already June, and you're still not playing the game you want because you continue to insist it's not your clubs. Except it really is your clubs, and we prove it every day. Fitted Golf customers continue to be amazed at how good they actually are when they use the right clubs for their swing. Why would you play the game you love but not love the way you play it? From beginners to pros, Fitted Golf makes all the difference. Visit fittedgolf.ca.
Saturday, June 21st, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. The Edmonton Street Rod Association marks 40 years with a summer cruise at White Mud Equine Center. Spectators welcome. Admission is free. Hear it before you see it. Supported by Sports 1440.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. The team at Old Strathcona has special training dedicated to reducing the impact of cancer care before, during, and after your diagnosis. From lymphedema to the management of fatigue and side effects of chemotherapy and radiation, they can help. Learn more at leadingedgephysio.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 4 o'clock. Welcome back. Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you are having a lovely Tuesday afternoon. Well, it wouldn't be a Tuesday because it's Wednesday. Lovely Wednesday afternoon. Wouldn't it be great to go back in time? It was Tuesday afternoon. Maybe there'd be a different outcome for the Oilers game. You'd probably take that. But unfortunately, not the case at all. And we'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting offseason. It'll be another interesting regular season for the Edmonton Oilers. I'm not one who says the regular season means nothing. It means something because if you don't get in, you don't have a chance. So it means something. And I think for the Oilers, there are some things in the regular season that they can work on that can help them in the playoffs. Your intensity level is not going to be the same. I get it. But a consistent commitment to a little bit better defensively. And I think they've made strides there. I really do. I think they've made strides the last few years. And another one would be, obviously, if I'm assuming, they're going to have a different goalie here. They're not going to come back the same goalie tandem. At least I wouldn't think so. I guess anything's possible, right? There'll be some new faces. So there's always changes there. A few things I would like to see in the regular season, because I talked about it all year long. The Edmonton Oilers are not a team in the offensive zone. You know what? They want to work it around the outside and attack you, and that's great. But in the playoffs, it didn't work against Florida, right? It didn't work. They took away off the rush for Dallas and Vegas, and it worked incredibly well, right? It worked incredibly well. They crushed them 4-1 in each series. And really, Dallas, every game they won was by 3. Like, it wasn't really close. That was a pretty good performance in the conference finals. So you can't just wash that away. But if there's one thing I see from the Oilers in the offensive zone, I don't see consistent enough appearances around the net. Yes, Zach Hyman goes to the goal. That's one guy. I think they need other guys, and it's got to be something that you funnel, and it becomes where it is mandatory. You get bodies in front of the net. Right now, McDavid and Draisaitl, they're not going to be the guys standing in front of the net all the time. And that's another reason why I do not believe that the 29-97 works together. Because when they played it, it works in the regular season and it can work at times in the playoffs, but it hasn't been as dominant in the playoffs as you would think. Right? It just hasn't been. So you don't need to do it. And I think firmly, when we talk nuclear, to me, nuclear is, guess what? We're going to do what no other team can do. And we're going to run out McDavid, and then we're going to run out Draisaitl. Then we're going to run out third line. Then we're going to run out McDavid. Then we're going to run out fourth line. Then we're going to run out Draisaitl. And we've got the two of the best centers going, and they're on the ice the majority of the time. That becomes a matchup problem because now you're forcing the other team to have to do it twice. Like, here's the thing. Here's some numbers for you in the playoffs. Okay, the entire playoffs. Everybody says, oh, Oilers' depth wasn't good. Really? I'll give you some numbers that might make you go, In the NHL playoffs this year, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl played 207 minutes together. They outscored the opponents 13-12. Right now, we can talk. Did they have a high shot percentage? Yes, because they have a lot of shots that have no traffic in front. Because neither one of those guys is a net front. I don't expect him to be the net front guy. Then McDavid without Draisaitl played 186 minutes. Got outscored 9-8. Draisaitl played 176 minutes without McDavid. Got outscored 7-6. The rest of the ice time, 585 minutes without McDavid, without Draisaitl. The Edmonton Oilers outscored their opponents 25-14. Okay? Those are the numbers. Now, some people, yeah, but what are the shot totals? I don't really care. Now, I know that, you know what? Hey, you're going to have more shots against. I get it. And you're not going to generate as much, sure. But they didn't score, right? Like, they didn't score a ton. Like, they obviously still score. Like, they got the best scoring rates for sure, but they had the highest goals against rate, right? Think about it. 14 goals against in 585 compared to 12 goals against in 207. Right? That's the number. That's the number that matters. And I'm telling you, I think it's been proven this team is better when they're apart. They just are. And I know that the minutes without McDavid and Draisaitl are against the other team's lower players, 100%. So you should have a lower goals against. But they played 25-14. Everyone, you've been clamoring for the Oilers to have depth away from McDavid and Draisaitl, right? And so that's what you had this year. You had it. You had it. And unfortunately, it didn't lead to wins. But you had it. You can't tell me that this year, like when people say, oh, if they had Fogle, they had these other guys, the Oilers weren't losing because of that. Right? Even in the Stanley Cup final, it was 4-4. Right? Last year in the playoffs, McDavid and Draisaitl together, they outscored teams 9-4. But they only played 121 minutes. McDavid outscored 19-10 without Draisaitl. Draisaitl got outscored 13-17. The Oilers, without either one, were outscored 21-12. So with all the guys that you loved last year, they got outscored 21-12. This year, they outscored them 25-14. So are you certain the depth was the issue this year? Are we 100% certain about that? Or is it possible? Maybe not. Florida had an unreal team. I'm not taking anything away from Florida. They played really well. Right? Marchand, Bennett, but like they had guys on every line contributing. Can't debate it. They did. Like they played really well. And they're a tough matchup for Edmonton. But I don't think Edmonton has to just get rid of everybody and every player sucks that's not named McDavid or Draisaitl. I think at times that becomes the fallback plan for too many, especially some online. And sometimes they don't want to just take a step back and look and say, hey, wait a second. Right? Can we be better? Where can we be better? Right? McDavid and Draisaitl together, it did not work this year in the playoffs. They gave up too many goals. Right? They gave up way too many goals. 12 goals in 207 minutes. And so it's not the nuclear option when they're only +1. Right? It just isn't. So that to me is what you have to look at. And, there's lots of other factors that go in, but in the playoffs, shots for don't matter as much as actual goals for. Goals for is ultimately what matters. And the Oilers, you know what? Hey, McDavid and Draisaitl are good. Don't get me wrong. But I actually believe, despite what some people think, I think the team is better when they're apart. Connor, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with it. There's kind of been the chatter around this for a long time. When you have those two players centering their own lines, and you're just able to throw them out one after another. Like, you're going to get mismatches. You're going to get one of those two lines out there against the team's weaker opponent, and that's just going to benefit you. And, whether it's going to be sustained pressure in the offensive zone, tiring them out, that's the key to me. And you just want to have that depth down the middle, and it goes back, for as long as I can remember. But the one that we always talk about would be like Crosby, Malkin, and Jordan Staal, to have those three guys down the middle and the success it has for you. And you got to build up the wings and, give them complementary pieces. But I don't see how you can argue against it at this point. They're always going to be stronger when you have depth down the middle and you can just keep rolling those lines out there.
Yeah. So it is, it's just something to consider that, in the final, and so I did the overall numbers, but in the final, without McDavid and Draisaitl on the ice, the orders 4 goals, 4 goals against. They played a lot together, though. It did not work this year. They got outscored 5-1. And they were each -1 on their own away from each other, but they're -4 together. And that's going to have to be some changes. So, you look at other things, goaltending, I think we all agree on. There's going to be a need to change there. Their defense core, they're going to need another right shot defenseman. 1, well, probably 2 if John Klingberg's not coming back. I think you can make an argument for 2. You know what? I don't want, now you want to have depth, and that's the fine line, but playing left guys on the right side all the time isn't, unless you're going to do it all year long so they get that much more comfortable for it. But I think if you had to, Jake Wallman would probably be my choice to play on the right side. I'm not going to play Kulak there. I think it's better. It's better away from it. So there you go. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. A lot of text flying in. Hey, Gregor, goal for and goals against might get better if we upgrade a net. How would goals for get better? Are you going to blame the goalie for not scoring? Let's be realistic here. And yeah, goals again, but it's the same goalie for everybody. And it's easy to just blame the goal. Look at last night as an example. Look at last night. Now, I don't like the third goal 100%. But the first 2 goals aren't on the goalie. Right? The second goal is a screenshot. Oh, imagine what happens when you get in the goalie's eyes here. Hey, shocking. I know everyone's like, well, Skinner's got to fight around the screen. But then when I mentioned that the Oilers have to screen more, it's crickets. So you admit that Skinner's got to fight around the screen because he's actually got a screen. Did Bobrovsky ever have to fight around a screen? Does he have to, as Kevin Woodley said, make your goalie at least have to have the choice on which lane he's going to look at. Right? So, and if he does go over the one side, well, then you shoot the other side. It's hard to see, right? It's hard to save it. But how many times did Bobrovsky have to do it? And he's not as big as Skinner. Right? So Edmonton, you got to get a few more bodies in front of the net at times. And not just to the side of the goalie, actually in front of the goalie. Or come through at the release point. Get in his eyes, as they like to say. So we've talked about it. Yeah, you can change goalies, but not anybody who thinks, oh, if they just had a different goalie, they'd win. I really think you're fooling yourselves. Connor Halley, oh, just give them the goalie. They'll win. Not with the amount of, what was the stat last night? The Florida Panthers in the series scored 14 goals within 10 seconds of a turnover. 14. How many other turnovers have that didn't turn it? Like the Oilers, the last few games really came back with some just horrific giveaways. Horrific. You look at the game in Edmonton. First goal, terrible giveaway. Second goal, Ekholm. Bad giveaway at center, doesn't get it down. Third one, Wallman, fans on a pass, the offensive zone blue line. Then it gets walked, right? Like, so not only is there a giveaway, like, and it was odd to me. I don't recall D-men getting walked in open as often as Florida walked around the Oilers defenseman here the last few games. Reinhart walks by Ekholm. Marchand walks by Ekholm. Marchand walks by Wallman. Like, they're getting walked too often. Like, I understand it's going to happen every now and then because it's best players on best. You get one little wrong step, it can happen. But I felt like Klingberg last night, again, another one. So these are some pretty good D-men that we didn't see getting walked. So it's not just goaltending. Does goaltending have to be upgraded? 100%. But you can't just say it's goaltending. I don't buy it. The goaltending has nothing to do with the lack of offensive pressure in the other zone. the lack of a net front presence consistently in the other zone. I don't buy it. They just lost to a better team last night. That was it. Hey, Greggs, what were your thought with the officiating? All serious, they called every little fraction, went quiet when the cup was in the building from JC. Well, I didn't think there was a lot of infractions. Kulikov, it looked like now in in super slow motion, stick was clearly in the face. All right. When I watched it live, I didn't really notice it as much, to be honest. So, okay, maybe you'll miss a call. Fine. Sucks that it went against the orders. I get it. The one call that I thought was egregiously not called. Now, the score is 3-0. I don't think it's going to matter. But it's 3-0, and McDavid gets tripped up coming in the zone, and there's no penalty. Like, come on. But I want to make it abundantly clear. Reffing did not cause the Oilers to lose the series. In game 5 and 6, officiating wasn't the problem. Last night, officiating didn't cause Ekholm to throw a 3-foot grenade to Bouchard and then get walked. It didn't cause the Oilers to turn the puck over at center ice with 45 seconds left and then have the back checker just abandon his man and go to the puck and leave Tkachuk wide open. Didn't. Right. On the third goal, Stuart Skinner on a fluffer. Just, I don't even know what he's doing on that play. I really don't get it. It's unfortunate, but that's kind of like Ekholm throwing up the pizza. The back checker who's in the NHL knowing to just stick with your guy. Right. It's no different. They're all major gaffes and they all led to goals against. That's what happens. Hey, guys, would you agree Knoblock failed to adjust to the forechecking of Florida from Highball Hodson? Well, it's hard to adjust to it because you can't obstruct that much and hold them up. I think I didn't love that they just said, okay, you know what? We're just going to get it out. We're just going to get it out. And I think you kind of went away from your strength as a team. Edmonton's not a flip it out team. Like I counted last night 21 times. They just flipped the puck. Even when they had some time, and basically you just give it back to Florida in the neutral zone. Now, you're going to have to do it sometimes, right? You want to live to fight another day. But I felt they did it too often from defensemen who are capable of making play. And sometimes I'm like, well, just reverse then. Go back deeper and set up, because at least now you have possession. And sure, you might face a forecheck, but not all the time. So I didn't love it. I thought they kind of reverted to it too much. And it's something they haven't done all year long. Edmonton was never a flip it up team, right? That's not how they played. So I didn't love it early on. And to me, that's the question. So, hey, Greg, do you think Skinner's a lock to leave? He showed a lot in his limited time from Colombo. Well, I'd be like the GM and the coach will talk. But the coach didn't really play him all year. And so I'm going to say I think he's probably gone. I think you're Jeff Skinner. You're like, why am I re-signing here? It's the same coach. And the GM can tell me anything he wants. Your ice time a lot of times is decided by the coach. So I would think not coming back. That would be my – and probably a little bit mutual there in the sense that if you're him – you kind of saw how it happened. Like, you may like, hey, you know what? It was good. I got in the playoffs. I showed some stuff, right? Other teams might want to sign him. I think he'll have some options. So that would be my guess. Quick break. We'll return. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you. Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Former Oiler, NHL analyst Rob Schremp joins us next. The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The summer drive event is on now at Buick. Right now, get 0% financing for up to 60 months on the 2025 Buick Envision. Make your presence known with available 20-inch alloy wheels with pearl nickel finish. Showcase your style with available quilted perforated front leather-appointed seats. And radiate confidence on any drive with Buick's suite of standard safety features. Get behind the wheel of your Buick Envision today. Ask your Buick dealer for details.
Mr. Rooter toasts the newlyweds.
A relationship is like a hot water tank. It brings warmth, but only if you start with a spark. Your love is the pilot light, and the burner is your love growing from that tiny spark. And the anti-corrosion anode rod is the sacrifices you make for each other to keep things from getting all gross and crusty. May your love last as long as a Mr. Rooter workmanship guarantee. For life.
For a plumber you'll keep for life, call Mr. Rooter.
The ballpark is going dark as your Edmonton Riverhawks team up with Fort Edmonton Park to throw a Halloween party this Friday night, featuring apple bobbing, mountains of candy, and a fire-juggling unicyclist. Get your tickets today to watch the Hawks play at gohawks.ca.
McDonald's summer drink days are back, which means it's officially summer. Enjoy your refreshing small Coca-Cola or small iced coffee for just $1 all summer.
Summer's booming with summer drink days. Excludes flavored iced coffee at participating McDonald's in Canada. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
Some jobs are easy, and some jobs are not. When the going gets tough and the job is tough, GS Construction hires good people to get the job done right. So, if you know it takes teamwork, grit, and the utmost care to work underground, you just might be who we're looking for. Right now, GS Construction is hiring experienced foremen to join our crew. Apply today at gsconstruction.ca. And remember, from the first manhole to the final tie-in, we've got your back. GS Construction. Tough jobs, good people.
Triple Creek Golf Club is a great course for beginners, offering a welcoming environment for all ages and skill levels. Teach the next generation to golf and create lasting memories at TCGC. Book a tee time at triplecreekgolfclub.ca.
Mental health affects us all. CMHA is working hard to erase the prejudice and empower those affected. Help us in our quest for a healthier Canada. Visit cmha.ca today and choose to donate, volunteer, or both. Every action counts.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. Get on the OTR Elks party bus for just $35. You can get a ticket to the game, ride there and back, and a prepaid Coors Light. Get your tickets to tomorrow's home opener while you can at ontherocksyeg.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Tonight, I want to give it all to you. In the darkness, there's so much I want to do.
$428. Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you are having a lovely Wednesday afternoon. I know it's hard. It is hard. Spoke to some people in the organization today. Obviously, it's a gut punch, and I think the key for the Oilers is to feel it, absorb the grief, but for management specifically, don't make emotional choices in the next few weeks. You have to make rational ones. Because I think last year, honestly, I thought there was some choices based on emotion rather than rational. And I'm not saying that they would have won if they had Dylan Holloway in the lineup. I don't think that that's fair to say. First of all, who knows if he's healthy? There's so many what ifs, but I don't think July 1st really helped them at the end of the day. They made other moves to compensate for it, and that's fine, right? Kapanen and Podkolzin, look at those two additions. Those are both very positive additions. Jake Wallman, I liked it. John Klingberg, for what you gave up, nothing. He helped your team, right? So no issues there. But I wouldn't look and say, okay, geez, we lost to Florida. Now this guy's gone and this guy, we need this specific thing. You got to, Stan Bowman and them. And I'm sure, hey, he's been through it. Hasn't lost in the final before, but, he's lost after winning the cup, lost LA, some tough losses. So you have to be able, I believe, to just reset as a manager and look at it rationally, analytically, video-wise, and saying, and hey, not every choice is going to be right, too. We have to understand that, right? Just because you think this guy's right and then you keep him, it doesn't work out. This guy's wrong and it doesn't work out. So there's always a little bit of it, but you try to make it more rational than emotional. I think you got a better choice, better chance. Let's go in the room now, brought to you by Action Electrical, where you can take action on your savings all the time, especially if you're thinking about solar, whether you want it for your home or your business. Great savings can be had. They'll help you out. actionelectrical.net. As we're joined by a former NHLer, a little bit of an NHL analyst now, Rob Shrimp. Joins us. Rob, how you doing?
Great, buddy. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. The city's in mourning a little bit, and understandably so. It's a tough loss, and they lost to a better team. Florida just played better than the Edmonton Oilers. I thought they got Edmonton out of their game, right? Like Edmonton wasn't a flip it out team all year long, Rob, and that was their decision to try to counter the forecheck, and it didn't work for them. I don't think they're ever comfortable doing it, and we saw that.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's they're definitely a momentum team and transition team, and the big wind up transitional game from 97 and 29. So they were out of their sorts, and I think Florida did a great job. Like you could see last game, and McDavid coming through the neutral zone, and there's 5 Florida Panthers from the red line to their blue line stacked there, nowhere to go. So it was quite the defensive effort by Florida, and what a strategic kind of genius from them as well. They were really structured.
Yeah, they were, right? And the other thing was they capitalized, Rob, when Edmonton made mistakes. Because if you look at last night, Florida was doing nothing until Ekholm, tossed that grenade to Bouchard, and he can't really handle it. And then Ekholm comes over, and then he gets walked, and boom, it's 1-0. And then you give up a goal in the final minute when McDavid back-checking goes to the puck carrier rather than just sticking with Tkachuk, because the puck carrier wasn't in a dangerous spot. Wallman had him, right? Like Edmonton still just made kind of the big mistake at the wrong time.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think there was just some tough reads, and that thing. And it's just such a pressure cooker. I find the way Florida plays, it's constant pressure. You're always under pressure, and then like this mistakes happen that don't usually happen. And it's just like if you're a player in that situation, you start to feel like it gets heavy being under pressure all the time. You're just like, man, a break. You want a moment of just like that open ice and clarity and room to make a play, and that good feeling of making a good play. They were stymied, and they just didn't give them that opportunity. Everything they did, I felt like Florida had really good sticks too. They were so good with their sticks, and active sticks and strong sticks. Like when they went in the battles, it was like one effort, second effort, and then maybe sometimes a third effort on a strong stick. So, like guys like Forsling and that decor are really, they got long twigs and they're good with it. So it was a lot, but they did I don't think it's so much on, like Edmonton failed. They come out of the West where there's a lot of really good hockey teams, and Winnipeg and Dallas and Colorado, and to get to where they got, I think they did a great job.
Yeah.
I think head up, I don't think it's like, oh, you totally bombed it. It's, that was a good hockey team. And Rob Brindamore talked about it. Like they are the standard now. Florida is a standard of the NHL, like how they play and the, the sort of brand they play is really good hockey. So they did a great job. And I thought you can see the guys still competing and battling and going like crazy, still trying to fight. And I think Connor talked about it in his presser after, about how, just kind of kept doing the same thing over and over again. They might have shot him in the foot, but as an ex-player watching, I don't know what else you can do. I don't know what else you could have done.
Yeah. Sometimes, you tip your hat. It's hard to admit it, but they're the better team. So you're the Edmonton Oilers, and you go into the offseason. If I just say, Robbie, you got 2 main priorities, what would be priority 1 and 2 for you on changes?
I think depth on D. A little more depth on D, and solidified goaltending, I think is, that's build out, as Florida's got Bob and seeing what he's done for that team. And, they build out, and then it doesn't end for them. No, the D core is really rock solid. They don't have like a rock star D. They just have a really solid D core. I think that could be would be my real focus, is getting a D core. And what that means is sitting down at the table and many people have an idea of like what that means and what's available. But the D core has got to be real solid, and then that, that real rock in the net. So I think there's just a lot of conversation about goaltending there, and it's got to be a lot of pressure on those two guys, because you hear a lot about it. So it's a pressure cooker for those boys. So it's not an easy job, but it is a job, and it's one to play in the NHL is a great opportunity. So it comes with the territory, but I think the Oilers need to solidify that. That's my 2 cents. Doesn't mean it's right, but that's how I feel.
No, I think it's totally fair. You'd look at, you need some more consistent goaltending at times for sure. I think their offense, their defensive consistency, right? Like their penalty kill this year wasn't good all year long. And I shouldn't say that. It had a 30-game stretch where it was pretty good, but it wasn't there in the playoffs. The other thing, Rob, I want to ask you about was how they approached the offensive zone. I'd watch the broadcast about, they had 2 good scoring chances. But Bobrovsky saw almost every release of the puck.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have eyes in front of him compared nearly as much to Florida at the other end. And people tell me that, it's, you got to have guys who do it. I'm like, maybe. I think it's a little bit of a systemic thing. Like when I see Anton Lundell, don't tell me Anton Lundell is infinitely more gritty than 80% of the Oilers forwards and they can't go to the net because he goes net. Because today, going to the net in the NHL in 2025 is infinitely easier. You don't have to take a barrage of cross checks. You just got to get there first, right? And then the guy can't even box you out barely. So I think Edmonton needs to have a little bit of a systemic change sometimes in the offensive zone where they send bodies to the net a few more times. What do you think?
Yeah, I would agree. I think in some degree, and then a lot of it though is the way that Florida flushed them up the wall. I think they did a great job, and Pears had a great. He did a hell of a job in those first couple of series of being that net traffic and being a real bastard in front of that net and causing a lot of trouble for the eyes of the goaltender and the defenseman. But that being said, this series, now Florida just kept flushing them up the wall, right? Then they flush them up the wall. They can't create those attack angles to the net where it kind of goes from low to high. Now it's like a puck carrier carrying it up, and then he's kind of going from midway up to high versus low to high, right? And they kept flushing him out of the corners. They kept not letting him get that set up out of the corner. And that was part of it too. And I feel like, when that puck did get squeaked up to the point, there wasn't much opportunity there. Hell of a job blocking shots. I think that was one thing I felt too. I thought the shots could have got through better. There was a lot of block shots and changing the angles on those releases and finding lanes through. But that being said, I felt like they did get flushed out of the corner, so they couldn't really get that low to high set and then, allowing Perry and those guys that are good in front of the net to be those screens and then get those looks.
What did you make of the decision to go McDavid and Draisaitl together so early, especially last night, even in game 5? I didn't love it. Where'd you come out on it?
I felt like, it didn't have that. It didn't get that spark. When you're watching the games and you're kind of an avid fan, so to speak, you see some of those games when they're not together, and then maybe towards the end of the game when they need something, you see that you see it. Like it just looks different. Like there's one guy goes 100 miles an hour, boom, 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 and there's a second guy that comes into a monster with this fat paddle blade or long blade, and it just has this view to it, right? It didn't have that, and it didn't get that spark, and I just, maybe just out of gas or whatever, like those guys competed really hard in these playoffs. I think they did a great job doing their part in it and maybe ran out a little bit of juice, but it was, I walk a fine line. I didn't put any blame on them. It's really Florida. Like those guys went every single shift. They competed every single shift, tried to do it the best they could, going through all that traffic, trying to go end to end and get those zone entries. Eventually you wear out. But it didn't, they couldn't get that pop going. They couldn't get anything going through the neutral zone. And that's really kind of, I think it frustrated them a little bit, and it started to weigh by the end.
Rob Schremp joins us on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Rob, you look at this Florida Panther team, and what impressed you most about their victory?
I would say the way they did it as a group and how the synergy between the group, it was amazing. They hounded that puck like crazy the whole series, and you had guys stepping up. Their third, fourth line, they were running cycle shifts. They had one last night. It was 25, almost 30-second shift. They had a good hemmed-in zone there in the offensive zone. So as a group, I felt like everybody came for Florida and their system at work. I think you can watch how they had their 2-return policy. When one guy goes in and there's 2 guys getting above the puck, their layers were unbelievable. And you could see it for the Oilers, like how they were just trying to get out of the zone, out of their own zone. It was like such a battle. And that was just to get out. It wasn't to get a breakaway out of it. It wasn't to get a scoring out. It was just to get it clear the blue line. Florida had layers to it, and they were really disciplined in their structure. The buy-in was there. You could see it. Personally, I could see it in the way they just came in waves. They didn't stop. And it was impressive.
You look at the Oilers, and you mentioned their defense. Like, to me, they need right shot defensemen. Fair. Like, it's the NHL, and I know some guys can play their offside, but not everybody's great at it. And Edmonton's got really good left defensemen, but John Klingberg, I don't expect to come back. They need 2 righties. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, the thing is with the righty, it changes the math on things, where how the puck gets distributed, little things like coming, a D-man right D shot, playing right D. dragging the line backwards, waddling it, his stick is off to the right side of his body versus the left. It creates different math, right? There's different things that it does. So, being a lefty playing right D and being able to do it is it's great, but it's not the same. So it changes things, and also the ability to pinch down or rim pucks around changes the math on the rims. There's a lot that it changes. So I don't disagree with you like that. And only having, a few, I think they could add a couple more to the repertoire. Right shot D are like the hottest commodity for the last 10 years, probably. That's what a lot of people are talking about.
Oh yeah, if they were so easy to find, everybody would get one. That's why there's not many of them. It's kind of like goaltending. Like everybody's like, hey, upgrade the goalie, and I totally agree. But I'm always kind of like, well, where are they going to go? And hey, that's Stan Bowman's job, so that's why I get paid the big bucks. And we'll see, where he goes in that regard. Evander Kane. Now there's the rumblings of Trent, Frederic, and the Oilers that he's going to agree to a deal that maybe as long as 8 years. We'll see, but. Evander Kane, what'd you make of Evander Kane's play in the postseason?
I thought he had his streaks where he was very effective and very good, played a good balance of physical game as well as getting his shots off. I think for Kaner, he needs to be getting that, he needs to be in the 3 to 5 shots on net in a game to be active and really into it. That's like an indicator from my perspective of when Kaner's going, he's there 3 to 5 shots and they're threatening shots. So, I thought he had spurts of that for sure. And I thought he did a good job in the physicality part of the game. And then just the one thing that would tone the line a little bit of when it gets out of hand and crossing the line. But, I thought he did a pretty good job of bringing some energy and good time at good times during the playoffs. That's how I felt. And that's like, I think he's like, for me, he's an appetizer to the piece of the puzzle, so to speak. And I feel like you're not really relying on it every night. I think it's that he's he's spotted offense for your team, but what he is all the time is physicality. And that's what makes him a fixture in the lineup.
Yeah, no, he definitely important. Now I got a text question coming in regards a few years ago when, early on in the internet era days, there was a video of you on the tee box, bouncing the ball up a few times. And then out of midair, you drove it about 250 down the pipe. How was your golf game?
It's good. It's actually funny. Ryan Rashad, he pulled up. We were at the Edmonton Oilers golf charity tournament or the kickoff to the season tournament, golf tournament. And he pulled up and said, "Hey, Shrimpy, can you do that Tiger Woods thing?" I'd only done it once before that. And I broke the driver doing it. And I did. I just said right off the cuff, I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." So I walked up there and started hitting the ball and it went 3 times perfectly and I smoked it. It was absolute luck, but I played it off pretty cool. And I pretended like I knew what I was doing, but I was like, it was in my head. I was going, oh my God. But no, the golf game's coming around. I'm a 3-5 handicap these days.
Did you say a 3 handicap?
Yeah.
Ooh, jeez. So now, obviously to get to a 3 down to a 2 or a 1 is really hard. So where's the area of your game you feel that you can shave off a stroke or two?
Ironically, my putting is horrible. My old billet dad, Greg Barber, gave me a putting lesson, and I've been working on it. It's actually coming around really nicely, but I lose about 6 strokes around on the putting green.
Really? So now, when you say you're a bad putter, what is it? Is it like you can't, your lie's off, or is it your touch as far as distance? What is it that's off for you as a putter?
I'm playing like handsy on the green. Like I'm trying to whack the ball in and use hands, which it's like more mechanical, and like you got to have like a proper technique. And just shoulder tilting it instead of like, snapping my wrist at the hole. So it's a while to get rid of that. But it's coming around, and that's why the handicap's starting to go down. I'm actually starting to make some putts.
Okay. How's your patience on the golf course? Are you a pretty patient golfer now?
Oh, absolutely. I am very, it's like, golf is like, I love golf. It's very peaceful for me. It's serenity. It's almost like therapy. I just love being out there and competing. I don't lose my temper too much.
Okay. All right. What, you playing pro-ams in the summer or what?
Well, yeah, I'll play some stuff. I think I'm going to play in the NHL alumni tournament. It's in the Toronto area, July 7th. So there's also a new little thing kicking up. I'm not sure who's in charge of it, but there's a bunch of NHL guys and current NHL guys come together in New Jersey and play a little event against each other. So they reached out, and they're going to see if I can make room in my calendar for that. But I'd like to do stuff like that. I see Pavelski doing a bunch of stuff and doing the golf stuff. I'd love to get in that pro athlete kind of racket and see how good I am. I know Wisniewski's a really good golfer. He's my ex-teammate with the Islanders.
Yeah.
So we'll see what those boys are up to. Maybe chase them around.
Who's the best golfer you've ever played with?
Golf-wise, for a hockey guy?
Just anybody.
That's a good question. Scotty Upshaw is a stick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I used to play with him and Blaine Stewart out in Edmonton. He used
Blainer.
So,
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Blaine's brother Neil is in our fantasy football draft. He's one of the nice. He's one of the OGs, but he's still looking for his first victory. So he's kind of like the Leafs of fantasy football. So
that's awesome.
But yeah, they're good. He's a good golfer though. Sandbagger. That's what I like to call him. Sandbagger. So
yeah,
magically. Yeah, his handicap always goes up before we play a tournament. And then suddenly in the tournament, I'm just having a good day. So, yeah.
It's really convenient.
Yeah,
right? Really
real convenient. That's how it works. Yeah. Mark Lever's probably the worst at that. Anyway, Robbie, good to catch up with you, man. And it's going to be an interesting few weeks here for the Oilers because obviously they got some decisions to make on who's signing, who's leaving, maybe a trade. There's not a lot of goalie free agents, so probably a goalie trade is what's coming. So it should be a fun offseason. Thanks for your time.
No problems. Good chatting.
You betcha. There's Rob Schremp, former Edmonton Oiler. Just check that video. We should try to find it. I remember watching that a few years ago. Tapped it up 1, 2, 3, and then literally kind of hit it like a baseball right out of the air, but piped it right down the pipe. And I like this honesty. He's like, no, never really done it before. Just got a little lucky. Well, you got to have a little skill to be lucky. Good to be lucky. Lucky to be good. 447, come back, 5 questions. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hey, Alberta. The all-new Play Alberta app is here. Casino, sports betting, lottery, all in one app, right on your phone. And because it's Play Alberta, you know it's safe, secure, and reliable. Download it now and play over 500 online casino games, live dealer tables, and unique games you'll love. Plus, bet on sports from anywhere in the province. You in? Download Play Alberta now from your phone's app store and deposit using promo code OIL for a $100 casino bonus on the house. That's promo code OIL for a $100 casino bonus.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
The Edmonton International Airport presents the Edmonton Elks home opener, taking on the Montreal Alouettes with new in-house band, new food items, Superdogs halftime show, and more. June 19th at 7 p.m. Tickets on sale now at goelks.com.
Day or night, tasting just so right. You can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle.
Canada's best bedroom sale continues at The Brick. Make your bedroom a dream come true with incredible savings, like up to 40% off bedroom furniture and select mattresses, up to $1,500 off sectionals, and up to 25% off dining packages, TV stands, wall units, and electric fireplaces. Plus, buy more, save more. Up to an additional $500 off select brands of major appliances. Some exclusions apply. See thebrick.com for details. The Brick, saving you more.
It was a heck of a ride. Thanks to the Edmonton Oilers for a fun playoff run. Now it's time to turn to football, soccer, baseball, and other summer sports from the team at Sports 1440, Edmonton's sports leader.
The Discovery Day sales event is on now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. It's your final month to lease a 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.49% and save $5,000. Lease or finance a 2025 XC60 plug-in hybrid from 0.49% and save $4,000. Lease or finance a 2025 XC40 from 0.49% and save up to $2,000. Come and discover the deals now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better services. Only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
No matter where your potential customers live, no matter what they watch, read, or listen to, you need a marketing plan that connects with them. Let the marketing experts at Stingray Media Solutions create a turnkey advertising strategy for your business, including radio and TV and out-of-home advertising, social and search ads, plus the creative and production. Find out the most cost-effective ways to reach your target audience and grow your business. Get started now at stingraymediasolutions.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Culligan for all your residential water needs. Your local water treatment company, more than just big bottles. Culligan.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.451 Wednesday afternoon, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. How you doing? Jason Gregor, Connor Halley. As we roll through a little bit of a day of mourning for Oiler fans. It was it's obviously been a tough day, tough night last night, really, for you. You kind of get up and you go to work, and hey, it's not your job, but you are a fan and you love it, and as you should. And you know, it's disheartening. You know, we've had some people. I love this text though from Dave. Hey, Greg, I don't understand why people get so caught up. It's not their game. I'm like, yeah, but you're listening to a sports talk radio station. How can you not get caught up in sports? Like, people get caught up in sports. That's why they listen. That's why they watch. Like, they love it. They like the good and the bad, right? Like, it's okay to be disappointed. I'm never gonna mock a fan. Now, if fans go overboard, like I've never like burning a jersey. I think people do that online for attention, if I'm being honest. But if someone's just like, the game's over, they turn their TV off and they just sit there and they just feel kind of like gutted, like, man, the team I cheer for, like, I'm a big fan. And they lost and it sucks. I think that's totally okay, to be honest. Like, I think that's kind of a normal fan reaction. To just say, well, I watch, but I don't really care. And that's okay. But you're not then you're not like a diehard fan. You're just like a casual fan. And there's nothing wrong with casual fans. There's lots of different fans. But like, my wife's not a watch every living, dying moment in the regular season, but she watches a lot of playoffs. And even she goes, I can't believe I just kind of feel really sad that they lost. She goes, I don't even know any of them. So I think it's normal. It's okay to have empathy for others, right? It's okay to be disappointed that the team you root for came oh so close. And just, unfortunately, didn't happen. Let's get to Con Man. 5 questions brought to you by The Brick, where 40% off bedroom furniture, 40% off select mattresses, 25% off dining packages right now at The Brick and thebrick.com. The best bedroom sale, but it ends tonight.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, question number 1 heading into the offseason. What is the number 1 priority for Stan Bowman?
Ooh, number 1 priority. Well, I guess I guess to me the number 1 priority is don't make any emotional decisions. So, but I guess from that, I think I don't know if you can say number 1 because it's all about, you're going to have to make 4 or 5, maybe 6 decisions that help your team. And is there one obvious one? I would probably lean towards a goalie change, but that doesn't mean it's going to be the first one. So the first move doesn't mean it's maybe the most important, but you're not going to say we're not making any moves until we make this move. So I think the most important move is making the right move, the first one. And, you know, you start out, if you think Trent Frederic's the guy for your team, away you go. I want to see the AAV. I know it's been reported around 4 million, but that could be 3.7, 3.8, could be 4.2, could be 4. There's always a little bit of a difference in there. So I want to see what the number is officially when it comes out.
Yeah, top priority. I mean, for me, I think it's just giving yourself some flexibility. So doing what you can do to create cap space. And then I think that kind of sets you up for a lot of good steps going forward, whether it's moving pieces at the draft or whatever it might be, getting yourself a little bit more room to work with. I think that'd be a good first step for Stan Bowman. Then you start looking at upgrading certain positions. Question number 2. Now, we saw Frank Saravalli saying north of 3.5, south of 4. that could be the number for Trent Frederic.
Yeah.
I asked, we kind of got the question answered here. So let me just shift it. What do you think statistically his numbers look like next season if he's able to play, north of 75 games?
Yeah, I got to see who he's playing with, right? So it's hard to say. Is Trent Frederic, is it, you're going to get, like, who's here next year? If Kane's gone and, Arvidsson's gone, and, is there a chance that we see Frederic in the top 6, right? Or is maybe Trent Frederic their third line center? So it kind of depends where he's playing. So I would need to see it. I think he can, I say this, I could see 15 to 22 goals.
That's kind of where I had. Career high would be 18, 19.
18. He's at 18 and 17.
18. So I'm going to say career high in goals. So 19 are up for him. Looking forward to seeing what it looks like healthy. Question number 3 for you. What are the odds the Panthers can successfully complete the 3-peat next season?
Oh, man, it's hard to do it twice, and they did it. So you heard their GM come out and say he thinks he can bring everybody back. That's a nice thing to say. He made a lot of changes after winning the first cup. Do I think he's just going to bring back he's going to sign Ekblad, he's going to sign Bennett, and he's going to sign Marchand? I'll be honest, I would be surprised if he did that. Just because I think you have to have some changes. There's some new blood. Now I guess, Nate Schmidt maybe doesn't come back. But if they bring back all their guys, so we're looking, so who are their UFAs? Marchand, Nosek, Bennett. Oh, well, Nico Sturm didn't play. So those 3, and then Nate Schmidt and Aaron Ekblad. If they sign all 5 of them, they're not winning the cup.
I mean, I would have their odds, just as high as anyone else. But a lot of things went right. Like, I don't know how many people would have thought Brad Marchand would have been available at the trade deadline this past season. Seth Jones was obviously a big acquisition. Even Ekblad, the whole steroid thing, kind of gave him a rest before the playoffs. And they came together at the right time, got healthy. So I would say, it's going to be tough, but I would put their odds just as high as anyone else because I just think they built such a good team and they play a brand of hockey that's really successful in the playoffs. Question number 4 for you. We'll keep it going all NHL here. When we get to free agency, is there a team that you think might go out there and make a splash, which doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing?
Vegas Golden Knights. I think the Vegas Golden Knights are going to swing big on Mitch Marner.
Be something that was one I liked in maybe the Anaheim Ducks, new head coach. Maybe some players want to go down, play in California. They got some nice pieces and have a little bit of money to spend. So I don't know if the Duke's listening or if he'll even like that, but I think the Ducks could be a team potentially. Final question for you today is let's go fishing day. So I have to ask you, summer's here, essentially. Are you someone who likes to go out and fish?
You know what? I have been fishing a few times in my life. I quite enjoyed it. I can't say as I'm a regular fisherman. No, I like going out with experienced fishermen. They know where the fish are biting. I can just sit in the boat. You know what? Like, I know how to cast, all that stuff. Even know how to, can do the most simple stuff of a fisherman. Don't have a lot of the proper. I do have a tackle box and I have a fishing rod. So yeah, I can go. But to say, do I like to do it? When I do it, yes, but obviously I don't like it enough because I don't do it very often.
Yeah, I think I like the idea of it. A couple of years ago, I went out with some friends fishing on a boat. Didn't love that, but I feel like if you take me to a dock where I can just do it for a few minutes and then get my fix and then go do whatever else I want to do, that I like. So yes, in certain situations, but yeah, I'm probably not going out on a boat doing it for a couple hours. Anything like that, probably a little too much for me.
It's fair. Fishing day.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? And I've been on a few fishing trips that we did many years ago. Carrie and I actually did a few fishing trips for charity, man. And it was unreal. Like, we flew into some fantastic place and we had a guide. So I was probably a little bit spoiled right now. I do remember fishing as a kid a few times and I quite liked it. And, it's kind of thrilling. Now, the one thing I've never done that I would like to do is salmon fishing.
What is the difference?
Well, they're way bigger. Right. And so, like you're getting I don't even know what the fish was, but the pike or the trout, it wasn't like it's as big as a salmon. You go salmon fishing, man. Like, sometimes you got to get in and you're like, you got the hip waders on and you're locked in on the big boat. So, that and halibut and salmon fishing up in BC is something that I've always been interested in wanting to do. But salmon are way bigger than the fish I'm catching in Alberta.
Okay.
Yeah. So
my brother-in-law in Australia went deep sea fishing.
Like marlin fishing?
I'm not sure exactly. It was for his brother's stag, and they went out, and I guess the waves were just ridiculous. Like, everybody got seasick. Kind of wasn't as good as they had planned it to be, but Yeah, like that I wouldn't want to do. But like I said, you throw me on a dock, I can just sit there with a lawn chair, maybe have a drink or two, play some music. Like that sounds quite nice to me.
Oh, so you don't even want to get in like just a small little boat and go around a lake?
That's what we've done that out at Calling Lake, just north of Athabasca. From what I hear, good fishing out there. All we found was a dead one floating. But yeah, I don't know. I think I prefer the dock style.
Okay. So you see, when we went, we had the guide is like, okay, this is a good area to go, and this is where we think we need it. So that'll be great.
That would be an experience. Like, if I got the opportunity, I might do that. Flying into a remote lake or something like that'd be cool.
Oh, yeah. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Let's get to the con man and a sports 1440 update now. Brought to you by your Alberta GMC dealers. Employee pricing is on now. Get up to $12,000 off a 2025 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab Denali Ultimate. See more at gmccanada.ca.
This is a sports 1440 update.
Also reports out there that the Oilers and forward Trent Frederic nearing an extension, believed to be in the ballpark of 8 years. PFO's Frank Saravalli saying between $3.5 and $4 million for the AAV. Frederic was acquired from the Boston Bruins ahead of the trade deadline, played in 23 total games for the Oilers, had 1 goal, 3 helpers, and 25 penalty minutes. And the Nashville Predators have acquired forward Eric Haller from the Devils in exchange for defenseman Jeremy Hansel and a 4th-round pick in 2025. Major League Baseball. Blue Jays in action today, taking on the Diamondbacks. That gets going in about 10 minutes' time. In the city, got the Riverhawks taking on the Bells. First pitch at 7:05. From the CFL, the Calgary Stampeders facing receiver Reggie Begelton on the 6-game IL with what is a reported fractured leg. In the NFL, the Baltimore Ravens signing former Green Bay Packers quarterback Jair Alexander to a 1-year deal. And in the association, the Buss family in agreement to sell majority ownership of the Los Angeles Lakers to Mark Walter, CEO and chairman of diversified holding company TWG Global. Jeannie Buss will continue in her role as governor after the sale. The reported cost is approximately $10 billion, the largest sale of a professional sports franchise in history. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and NHL Network analyst Mike Rupp. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Legacy Heating and Cooling jingle auditions, take 1 for Gene Principe. Hey, thanks for being on time.
I'm always punctual. Now, how about some cool beats while I drop the heat?
Ready when you are.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Nice.
Boom! I'm a musical genius.
Legacy's going to love this for AC season.
What's not to love with no interest and no Principe payments for 1 year?
Are you always like this?
Yep. Unlike Legacy, I never know when to cool it.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
New crust alert at Papa John's. Your favorite cheese meets your favorite pizza in the new cheddar crust pizza for only $17.99. Papa John's pizza makers created the perfect addition to their crust by melting garlic and herb seasoned cheddar cheese right on top of their fresh original dough that's made with 6 simple ingredients. Try a one-topping cheddar crust pizza today for only $17.99. You better hurry though, because it's only for a limited time. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, proudly locally owned and operated.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at cantork.com.
You don't want to miss the party of the summer at On the Rocks.
Sunday, June 29th.
Catch Edmonton's #1 party band, the Barkells, live at OTR.
Drink specials all night.
$5.25 highballs.
$5 PER.
Oh, and we can't forget the $5 Jaeger and Jameson.
Yeah, it's going to be that kind of party.
Live, loud, and legendary.
Sunday, June 29th.
At On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave, 118th.
Adventure just doesn't stumble into your life. It roars to life with Riverside Motorsports. Tearing up trails or cruising the open road. Yamaha ATVs, side-by-sides, motorcycles, and dirt bikes deliver the performance you crave. Built for thrills, ready for your next adventure. Yamaha's legendary performance and reliability take you there.
Welcome
Make Mother
back.
Nature your playground on a Yamaha from Riverside Motorsports. Located on St. Albert Trail. RideRiverside.com. Riverside Motorsports. What you do for fun is our business.
Are you looking for safe and professional travel options? Look no further than Silent Ride, one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies. Whether your group is big or small, Silent Rides has you covered. We offer state-of-the-art motor coaches, first-class service, and affordable rates. Get your quote today. For more information, call 1-877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
Hey, Gary, is that your dad?
No, this is Evan, the new sales rep I hired.
Oh.
First impressions matter, but when hair loss takes over, it can feel like you're not being seen for the maverick you truly are. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we know that hair loss is more than just a cosmetic issue. It's personal. Let's discuss all the cutting-edge options available so you can make a great impression every time.
Book a free consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
The 2025 Nissan Rogue is Motor Trend's #1 compact SUV for the third year in a row. Why? Exceptional capability, value, and safety that beat all others to become Motor Trend's #1 compact SUV. Now finance a new Rogue from just 0.49% for up to 48 months. That's a finance offer that's better than other Japanese and Korean competitor SUVs. Hurry into your local dealer for the award-winning Nissan Rogue. Includes 0.5% loyalty reduction for qualifying Nissan owners. Conditions apply. See Nissan.ca for details.
Visit your local Edmonton and area Nissan dealer for more information.
Saturday, June 21st, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. The Edmonton Street Rod Association marks 40 years with a summer cruise at White Mud Equine Center. Spectators welcome. Admission is free. Hear it before you see it. Supported by Sports 1440.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Did you know that Japa offers in-house and on-site service? Rain or shine, Japa's service department is here for you. Get a quote now at japamachinery.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 5 o'clock, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Welcome back. It is the Gregor Show, Sports 1440. Probably the most tiresome thing that will come out of the Oilers losing is until he signs a contract extension, you'll see all these people in other McDavid's leaving, and now you see McDavid said, he kept doing the same thing over and over. Oh, that means he's mad. He hates the organization. Like, these are the same people that, you know what? Did you see his face when he got anybody who's gotten to know McDavid? He's not a guy who's Mr. Smiley, right? It's not who he is. Like, that guy is ultra serious. There's nothing wrong with it, but that's who he is as a person, right? He's not cracking jokes. He's pretty serious, maybe too serious at times. We'll never know. But the fact that they lost the cup will until he signs an extension, you'll have everybody talking about it. And when he does sign the extension, even then you watch, if they lose the cup next year, McDavid's going to ask, they'll never stop because they just, I don't know. I've never really seen it about a lot of other players, but it's just more tiresome. It's kind of comical at times, especially when some of the people, I'm like, are you trying to be a troll? Like, I get when trolls want to be trolls, but I never really understand when a media person tries to be a troll, legitimately. Oh no, McDavid's leaving. Like, what you don't have a clue. What are you talking about? So anyhow, let's get to the spec report brought to you by GS Construction, your underground infrastructure specialists. Just the simple things, getting you water to your house, where you're driving right now, freeway, the roadway, all the underneath stuff. That's what they do at GS Construction. As Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us. Spec, how you doing?
Doing great, man. How you doing?
Oh, I'm all right. A city in mourning today, and understandably so. Yeah. But you know what? Hey, the Florida Panthers just played better.
I was thinking about it today. What made it kind of weird too was Edmonton rolled. First of all, during the season, everyone was in agreement. The West had the best teams. The real wagons were out west. All the good, not all of them, but most of them. East wasn't that great. And then Edmonton rolled through the West. Like when they beat, they struggled a little bit with LA, but then 5 games through Vegas and 5 through Dallas. You thought, man, like Edmonton must just be better. Like they got to be a better team this time around. Look how they went through those other 2 good teams. And then they get there, and Edmonton was better. But I guess what we never banked on was Florida was way better. That Florida team this year was a way better, harder to beat team than it was last year. And that part snuck up on me. I thought Edmonton got to game 7. They lost 2-1. If they get a little bit better, they can win. And then they got there, and that formula didn't pan out, did it?
No. You know what? Hey, Hyman injury hurt a bit, but I'm not thrilled that would have solved anything. I just felt that, now the first 4 games were highly entertaining, Spec. 3 games go to overtime. The Oilers win 2 of them. You're right there. But games 5 and 6, well, high danger chances in games 5 and 6 combined were 13-6 for Florida. Last night, after the second period, the high danger chances were 8-2. Right? They were the more dangerous team. And they were leading, 2-0 after 40 minutes, right? And it was 8-2. They were the better team. Edmonton really didn't generate much. And the few chances they did generate, Bobrovsky saw everything clean. Like, I don't know if he had a screenshot last night, other than kind of on the Podkolzin and goal, right? He just put it on net, and there was a Florida defender and an Edmonton forward there, and Bobrovsky didn't really handle it, and Podkolzin puts it in. But those type of shots were few and far between.
Yeah, they didn't, and people say, they can't make it hard on a goalie. We watched them make it hard on goalies all the way through. They didn't make it hard on Bobrovsky the last 2 games. There's no argument there. I don't really exactly know what changed in Edmonton's game, Their top defensive pairing really went south. And that's, I don't care what team you are, when you take your top pair, your 2 guys you expect 25 good minutes out of, and they don't give you good minutes, very many, enough good minutes. Ekholm and Bouchard, they weren't very good. And that is killer, man. That is killer. They're an important piece of what you do. So there's that. Their top 2 offensive guys didn't generate much offense. So that really hurts. And now we need the depth guys to chip in, the old new hero every night thing. And that went dry too. That their bottom producers, their 2 third and fourth line and defense core, they stopped producing. So everybody just stopped producing. It wasn't coming from anywhere the last couple of games. And and as a city now, a lot of people are talking about a goalie. And I think, you know what? Like, I guess I'd ask you this: those last 2 games, you tell those 2 goalies to swap sweaters, put Bob in Edmonton's net and Skinner in the other. You think Edmonton wins those games? Those last 2 games where they got completely dominated? I don't think they do.
No, I do think I don't think they can roll back the same goalie tandem, though. I think they are going to make a change. Yeah. It's not the only change, though, right? But it'll be one of the changes. Is that fair?
What do you do? What's your goalie solution?
Well, honestly, Spec, I haven't had time to accurately look up to it. But I did a brief one, during the show when someone brought it up. So I'm looking, okay, because you're not going to get a full-fledged starter. People can't tell me, well, Skinner sucks, but then trade him for a full-fledged starter. You can't have it both ways. It's impossible, okay? People are texting, I'll trade Bouchard and Skinner for Sorokin and Dobson. What? Right? The gap between Dobson and Bouchard isn't the same as the gap between Sorokin and Skinner. Now, Edmonton would have more caps hit because Dobson's going to get a new deal, and he's probably going to be in the $9 million range, right? He doesn't have Bouchard's number. He's not getting 10, but he's going to get 8.5 or 9 for sure. And Sorokin's 8.8 or whatever he is, 8 mil. So it's going to be more, right? Because Skinner's 2.6. But New York would never make that trade straight up. They wouldn't do it. So which starting goalie? I don't see one. I think Stan Bowman's going to have to be creative. You're going to have to go out. You're going to have to look at teams. And you're going to have to find a goalie spec who isn't, because the truth of the matter is, unless you're getting a dominant goalie, and even having one, Jake Ottinger, hello, Kemper, hello, Hellebuck, hello, that doesn't mean you win, right? You need other pieces. No. And so if you're going to go out and get the other big goalie, well, then you're going to look and say, well, we're really going to have to deplete our defense core, or we're going to have to deplete somewhere else. It's hard to get all of it unless you had it first. Funny enough, Florida had the goalie first, right? and people thought he was overpaid. Hell, they thought he was overpaid because they went out and paid.
He wasn't very good for a long time, right?
Yeah,
he wasn't very good till they put a team around him. Right.
Wasn't very good. Shocking how that works. Right now, don't get me wrong. Bobrovsky's a really good goalie, and his numbers will suggest he's probably going to be a Hall of Famer when it's all said and done. Right? Like he's a good goalie. He was a Vezina Trophy winner before he came there, but he got to Florida early on, and their team wasn't good, and so his numbers suffered accordingly. And I'm not, I'll say this: if the Oilers trade Stu Skinner, I'm not going to be surprised if Stu Skinner has a year or two in the NHL where he's a 920, or I guess now today 915 is what 920 used to be. Right. So a 915, I won't be surprised by that at all. It's just a matter. Edmonton might not be able to wait. Right. Because they're like, hey, we're close now. Right. Some guys are getting older. They got to get younger in some areas for sure. I think they got to get quicker in a few areas. But finding the goalie is not just as easy as just snap your fingers, because there's not a lot of guaranteed lock options that are better. That's the challenge.
Yeah, if you look at where Skinner sits in the pantheon of goalies, he's at the top of the second tier, somewhere near the top of the second tier. He's in with he's as good as any of the Kempers, any of the Wedgwoods, any of the
Kemper, I think is better. I like Darcy Kemper, but I think Kemper's better.
Yeah, okay. Sure.
No.
I don't think he's that much better, but okay. But he's none of those guys are in with the Vasilevskis, the Sorokins, the Hellebucks, right? Those guys are a cut above. And you're right. No one trades you those guys. Hell, Utah is not going to trade you Vejmelka, because if you have a really good young goalie like him, why on earth would you trade him? Like, what possible reason would you trade an excellent young goalie for? Now you're just looking for one. So, I think that I feel like Bowman's got to find a way to find. Colorado found their two goalies this year, right? They changed out both their goalies. You got to be able to identify and find the next Scott Wedgwood and bring him in here, a guy that's basically as good as Skinner. And now you got two guys. So really what you're doing, you're not changing out Skinner, you're changing out Cal Pickard. And, how much are you going to get a ton better? There is a school of thought, Jason. There is a school of thought that says get a better, more consistent, good team around Skinner. Because if you look at the games where his environment is good, he's good, right? The only thing Skinner doesn't do for you is win games like the last two games. He doesn't win those games when you're not good enough as a team in front of him. That's all he doesn't do. I defy you to go back and find me a bunch of games where the skaters were just as good as the other team's skaters and Edmonton lost. There aren't many of those games that I can think of.
Yeah, well, Skinner has won obviously last year, Game 6 against Dallas, right? Like, they were brutal and he saved them, so he can do it. But you're right, that's not his calling card to do regularly. I think that's fair to say. But I wonder, like, goaltending's hard, and Stuart Skinner's pretty mentally tough. I wouldn't be surprised, though. I'll just say this: I won't be shocked if they trade Skinner for like another goalie in a similar category as him. I don't know, just a gut feeling. I won't be shocked. And I'm not saying it's the right decision.
I don't see how you trade a 26-year-old who's not making much money, who's only got 3 years in the league and went to the Cup twice, right? This guy has got all. I don't know what's going to happen with Stu Skinner, but he checks every box of a place where Bobrovsky used to be. He was young and he looked okay. And then he got older and he got a team around him and he looks great. This guy's got so much experience at 26. He's not expensive. And I know this, he's got an unbelievable head, right? There's so many players we watch come through town, skaters, goalies, who, what's wrong with them? They don't figure the game out. They don't think the game. They're not smart. They can't change their game, all those things. They can't handle the pressure. They can't take it when something goes bad. Stu Skinner's got one of the best heads of any hockey player I've ever seen. Like, he takes it in this town and it doesn't get to him. So a little maturity and a little experience. I don't love the fact that you're just letting a guy go who's not too expensive, he's not too old, and he's not bad. He's not great, but he's not a bad goalie. He got you to two Stanley Cups, people. Like, if you think that anyone can do that, you're kidding yourself, right? He needs some help. He needs a better environment, He probably needs a better backup. He needs a backup that might be able to steal the net once in a while. But as an asset manager, that goalie who's 26, making 2.6, and has got 2 cups under his belt, I am not trading that goalie away. Sorry.
That's fair. Do you think then, from just like looking at it, say, hey, do they look? And I'm not blaming it because I'm not a big believer in it, but they look and say, hey, maybe we switch our goalie coach because it's just a different voice and it's been the same one for a long time. Now, I'd go, and I've been one who's defended the goalie coach for a long time. But if you look at where Skinner and Kevin Woodley's talked about it, he knows the position way better than I do. And he talks about the technical areas of Skinner's game that they need to improve on. Now, here's the truth. A new goalie coach, it's not like Schwartz doesn't know what the deficiencies are. Some of them are just physical. If you don't have wide hips, you can't suddenly go into a wide butterfly. It's never going to happen. It's impossible. Skinner's never going to have a wide butterfly. He doesn't have the hip flexion to do it. It's a physical thing. It's not a teaching thing. But I just wonder sometimes where, they look, people thought, well, you know what? Woodcroft wasn't terrible, but they made a coaching change and he made some changes that helped the team. So I think this offseason they're going to look at something to change for their group somewhere in the goalie area.
Yeah, listen, anything's possible. I guess I'd say to you, I'm not going on the fire Dustin Schwartz train. It's not what I'm doing.
I'm just asking the question.
I know you're not either. Do coaches run their course? We see coaches fired all the time because they run the course. I don't know if Dustin Schwartz has run his course. I don't know that. But if someone decided that after how many years has Dustin been working here?
Since
really
he got, like 10 years.
Yeah, so that's a possibility. I won't. I'm not coming on your radio show and saying fire Dustin Schwartz. I'm not saying it.
That's not what I'm asking. Yeah.
No.
I'm just having a conversation about
things. Yeah, I hear you. It's realistic. Coaches all get fired, man. Coaches get fired.
Yes,
that's the deal. That's the business. Coaches get fired. Head coaches get fired more than anybody else.
Yep. And doesn't mean that, and trust me, they fired lots of coaches and it doesn't make it better. So that's what I want to be abundantly clear.
There's lots
of people that have been clamoring for it. And guess what?
Right.
You fire the guy, nothing changes. And I'm like, well, see, guess what? Maybe it wasn't the issue you thought it was. So, Stan Bowman and then organization, they'll look at everything. And, what about the coaching here? Young coach, obviously made the cup final 2 years in a row. It's great. Now, here's what I'm guessing. Spec was the strategy by the Oilers. And Chris Knoblock basically said his game plan was, we're going to go McDavid and Draisaitl because we felt like we need to win one game. Because you don't worry about game 7. You just need one game to win. And they say, you know what? Because which line wasn't killing the Oilers? Barkov's line. Barkov's line had really done nothing. It was the other lines. So I noticed them going out against the other lines a little bit more in that game and saying, let's go and try to maybe slow down Marchand and Kachuk's line. Well, but Bennett, let's be honest, Marchand and Bennett's line, and put them out there. Now, it didn't work, right? Like, they didn't have a great game. McDavid and Draisaitl didn't have a great game. But I'm guessing the strategy was thinking, for one game, I'm going to I'm pushing my chips in the pot of 29 and 97. And if that's their mindset, like, it's hard for me to rip on it too much. My only challenge to that is, I said it before the game, I wouldn't do it because I don't think it would be working. And then it didn't work again. So but I wonder if their mindset was, we're going to go chips in. We need one win. And if we get that win, then we'll reevaluate for game 7.
Yeah. I mean, I think I agree with that being the mindset, and it's right. There's no point worrying about game 7. You got to win game 6. I want to say though, that I think what that tells us, if that's your mindset in the most important game, it's because you don't trust your depth. You don't trust the rest of your lines to just win a game straight up. Florida didn't change their lines at all. They played everybody. Their fourth line didn't play that much, but their top 3 lines, they played and played and played. They just kept rolling. And all 3, the second and third line hurt you more than the first line did. Edmonton didn't have that. The Edmonton's depth scoring dried up. The Henrique line dried up. Connor Brown dried up, right? Podkolzin was the most productive of the bottom 6. And that's not a good sign because he's not a goal scorer. So, it forced Chris Knobloch's hand. So I guess what I'd say to you is, if I want to find myself in a similar situation a year from now, I don't want to have to say the only way for me to win is to load up my two top guys in a one-trick pony line and try to survive all the other shifts and hope I don't get killed. And those guys get out there and they just think offense because it's like, okay, we're together. If we don't score, no one else will. I don't like that team very much. I want a team that allows me to keep McDavid and Draisaitl apart for 60 minutes of every game. Yeah, if it's 2-1 in the third period, okay, let's switch our lines around. But I want a team. I want Florida's team where different guys, different lines score every night, where I'm not changing my lines all season long. I mean, Knoblock, I'm not here to criticize his coaching. He did it because he felt he had to. But I like a little more stability in the lines. Way too, for the Stanley Cup final, way too much instability in the lines for this team for my liking.
Yeah. Thing was, in the previous rounds, because they were winning and scoring first, he kept the lines together. But I'm going to throw you some numbers back that might surprise you. So, in the Stanley Cup final, McDavid and Draisaitl, when they played together, got outscored 5-1. When McDavid was on his own line, he got outscored 3-2. When Draisaitl was on his own line, he got outscored 4-3. The rest, when McDavid and Draisaitl weren't on the ice, the orders were 4 goals for, 4 goals against. And in the entire playoffs, when McDavid and Draisaitl weren't on the ice, the orders outscored the other teams 25-14 without McDavid and Draisaitl on the ice. McDavid and Draisaitl on the ice in the entire playoffs together outscored the opponents 13-12. And then McDavid on his own line without Draisaitl got outscored 9-8. Draisaitl without McDavid got outscored 7-6. So if you look at without McDavid and Draisaitl on the ice, the orders were 25-14, and with them on the ice at any point, they were outscored 28-27.
So the depth was excellent. The depth was excellent through 3 rounds, and I don't know. I'd say
even in the final, it was break even, right? 4-4. Not great, but didn't get pounded.
Not good enough, but didn't get pounded. Sure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's an inordinate amount of minutes in there, not inordinate, a ton of minutes where either McDavid or Draisaitl are on the ice for sure. So that's a big amount of time. I thought that
in the playoff spec overall, if I'm doing the math in my head quickly on the spot, McDavid and Draisaitl on the ice, whether they're together or apart, in the entire playoffs, if I'm doing the math quickly, was 590 minutes, and then there's 585 minutes without them. It's not much.
For half a game. Half a game,
they were -1
and/or Draisaitl on the ice.
Or -1 in the playoffs, and the other half, the orders were +11.
So what do we get out of all these numbers? What's it tell us?
Well, a few things. You got to look deeper because those guys usually play the other team's best players. So let's put that out there. But for 3 rounds, and the numbers backed it up. The Oilers' depth scoring was great. Like, that's why I argued against Dallas. They killed it. Florida just had better depth scoring. So Brad Marchand, Sam Bennett, Tkachuk, right? It wasn't really the Barkov line. I know Reinhart had his goals last night, and 2 of them were empty netters, and people are going to see 4 goals. But anybody who watched the game knows it wasn't a 4-goal game. But there's a few things for me. Edmonton, I don't think is that far away. I think they miss Hyman. But I also think, Spec, when McDavid, I want to build a team, and I'm going to talk to my coach. I'm not going to McDavid and Draisaitl all the time in the regular season when they lose 2 games in a row. Not doing it anymore. I'm like, you guys are going to figure it out on your own. Why? Because that's what we need to do to win against Florida in the Stanley Cup final. We might not need it against Dallas. We might not need it against Vegas, but that's what we need, right? That's what the Calgary Flames did in the 80s, Spec. They built their team to beat the Oilers. And I know they're in the same division, so it's slightly different, but they went and said, how can we beat them? Because if the Oilers want to beat Florida, because when McDavid and Draisaitl play together, watch the offense's own possession time, Spec. They're both on the outside. Neither one of them is in front of the net. And so while they outshoot the opposition when they're on the ice, they don't get a ridiculous amount of high danger chances when they're like great scoring chances because the goalies aren't screened. Because McDavid and Draisaitl, I don't want them to be the net front presence. But when they're both on the ice, right, then there's the middle of the ice.
That's why Hyman works.
Yeah.
That's why Hyman works well with them, and that's one of the big areas you missed Hyman, right? Hyman's a first-line player who gets in the goalie's eyes. So, I agree with you when you say, like, you take the lesson. You know, there weren't any lessons in the first 3 rounds. Edmonton was really good, and they blew through good teams. The lessons come, you know, in the last half of that series. That's when the lessons come. And take those lessons, and you got to bring them back and build your team to solve to learn from those lessons. That's what's got to teach you. You're right. You got to. I mean, it's an old story around here. You're telling me I got to build a team where the answer isn't always 29 and 97. That's not new. We've been talking about that around here for a long time. Maybe you got to build a team where there is more net front people, and one of them isn't just a 40-year-old Corey Perry. That might be something you do. And I don't know, Jay. Like, I thought last night everyone got a real bad rap because he put his guys together too quick for my liking, 97-29 right away, and they go out there and Bouchard gives the puck. Ekholm gives the bad pass, Bouchard gives it away. Ekholm defends as poorly as I've ever seen him defend, and Reinhart beats the goalie. And everyone's like, oh, Draisaitl and McDavid are -1. Oh, yeah, sure. And then a few shifts later, Bouchard gives the puck away at the offensive blue line and stands in front of the net and doesn't do anything. And Tkachuk rifles one home, and McDavid and Draisaitl are -2, and everyone goes, oh, look at McDavid and Draisaitl. And they had almost nothing to do with either goal. This is the bit of the plus-minus thing. So
yeah. No, it's fair. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of things, if Ekholm's healthy and playing well, we're probably not having some of this conversation. It appears to me that he just couldn't get the job done anymore. And he's your best defender, so you got to learn your lessons, but I think you got to keep it in context. I'll finish by saying this. I am seeing today online, and when I read guys, there's a million things to fix for the Edmonton Oilers. They should change their identity. And oh my God, how are they going to? Right. I'm seeing a ton of doom and gloom out there. And I want to say, like no one, they've played this most playoff rounds in the last 4 years in any team, I think, except for Florida's got one more. Do they have one more? I believe so. They're better than everybody else except for Florida, and they took Florida to 7-6 games. Those series, this was a best of 3 series. After 4 games, we were writing about what a unbelievable best series we ever saw in our life, and how they're so even and they're both so great. We're never going to forget this series. 2 games later, we're telling the Oilers that there's a million things wrong with them. There isn't a million things wrong with the Oilers. They're really, really, really good. Some fine-tuning, yeah. A change in identity, yeah, no.
No, God, not a change in identity, but there's small little details. That's small details that will help them win for sure. Spec, have a good one. We'll chat with you tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good, Jay.
That's the Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. Went a little bit late. We'll come back. Mike Rupp will join us next.
Hopkins. And I'm Zach Hyman. And when we're not making juicy, sweet passes or having my goals disallowed, we're working for Legacy Heating and Cooling. Guys used to call me a plumber, and now they call you an AC repairman. Nice.
Hey, guys, you're not here to fix air conditioners. You're here to sing the jingle.
Oh.
Well.
Okay. Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
No payments and no interest for 1 year from qualified installers. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
The Edmonton International Airport presents the Edmonton Elks home opener, taking on the Montreal Alouettes with new in-house band, new food items, Superdogs halftime show, and more. June 19th at 7 p.m. Tickets on sale now at goelks.com.
You have a choice, and it's a hard one. GMC employee pricing or 0% financing at Wolf GMC Buick. A hard choice, but also super awesome. Get GMC employee pricing on our Sierra lineup, from the Sierra half-ton to the heavy duties. If you have cash, get discounts over $12,000 on many of our Sierras, along with GMC pricing. Or choose 0% financing on our Sierra half-ton lineup. And what a great selection of GMC terrains and fabulous Buick SUVs to pick from. So many choices. But one thing's for sure, you are getting the best deal at Wolf GMC Buick.
Canada's best bedroom sale continues at The Brick. Make your bedroom a dream come true with incredible savings, like up to 40% off bedroom furniture and select mattresses, up to $1,500 off sectionals, and up to 25% off dining packages, TV stands, wall units, and electric fireplaces. Plus, buy more, save more. Up to an additional $500 off select brands of major appliances. Some exclusions apply. See thebrick.com for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. What's the best way to beat the tariffs? Buy Canadian. Cantork's products are not only made in Canada, but right here in Edmonton. Save money, support Canada at cantork.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Rolling right along. Welcome back, Jason Gregor. Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram as we go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. $2 Sundays, $2 snack size shakes, or download the app and you can get dollar cones. Take your whole soccer team, $15, get you 15 ice cream cones through the McDonald's app. Pretty awesome, plus tax. So we welcome in from the NHL Network, Mike Rupp has been a regular contributor all year long. Rupper, how you doing, my man?
I'm good, Greg. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm good. You know what? Through 4 games, everyone is like, God, this is a hell of a series, and it was. But in games 5 and 6, Florida kind of took over. And really, Florida took over, but I thought what hurt Edmonton in both games, Rupper, was they made some egregious turnovers and led right to goals. Like if you look at the first 3 goals, face off, not really a turnover, but bad decision off a face off goal. Ekholm goes dumping in, doesn't work. 8 seconds later, goal. Face off in the offensive zone. Wallman fans on it. Breakaway. Marchand walks Wallman. Goal. The first goal for Reinhart last night. The second goal, Tkachuk, just a missed assignment. Like Edmonton's Achilles heel just showed up finally in the last 2 games.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think there's always a side of it where, maybe some Edmonton fans won't want to admit this, but you got to give credit to the opponent. I really do think that what we saw and what we have seen the last number of years from Florida, they are a very unique team. We know that just because they've made it to 3 straight finals and 1 back-to-back Stanley Cups. But I think that what they do is they mess up all your plans on how you're going to play the game, how you're going to approach things. But it's your job to stay the course. And I felt like Edmonton, because they were down 2 goals every first period of every game, that changed their mindset. And they are a good team. They're a very good team. They deserve to be where they're at. They can defend. And Connor McDavid said that. But this series, all that slipped because I think they were struggling and chasing so much that they started just getting away from their game and did uncharacteristic things. And that's the Florida Panthers. They got you right where they want you when that starts happening. So, yeah, to me, that was probably the biggest thing. They can defend, but they can defend with the lead, but they just never really had it.
Yeah, that's well said. Mike Rupp joins us. So you look at it at Rupper, the Oilers aren't far away. Every other team in the league except Florida would want to be where Edmonton is. Last year they outscored Florida in that series. This year I thought Florida definitely in game 5 and 6 were the better teams. There's no debate in anybody's mind, I think, on that one. So if you're the Edmonton Oilers, Rupper, if you're Stan Bowman, I thought last year they probably got a little bit maybe too emotional in some of their decisions on July 1st, and that didn't work out. They need a little bit more of a methodical approach on free agency day. Where do you see them going in free agency? Or I don't expect them to be a big player. Do you?
No, it's so hard to say because this is a unique roster. I was looking at some of their salary or their contract makeup of their team, and they've got a few guys entering into their last year that I actually thought that maybe I think the ones on the top of my head are, you got Kane, you got Henrique, and was it Arvidsson, I believe, where I kind of feel like you might need to shake that up a little bit, maybe with one of them, or I'm just talking more like about the money that they're making maybe could be used elsewhere and just to kind of switch it up. I do think you need to try to find a way to get some new blood in. I think you're automatically going to be able to do that because there's so many guys in the bottom 6 as far as forwards that are UFA. But as far as a big swinger, I don't really see that. I just think there's so much coming down the pipeline here for Edmonton. that I don't think they can necessarily afford to do that right now because of the Connor McDavid extension, because of the Evan Bouchard extension. I mean, these are big things, and even in like the next 2 years, there's a lot of current players that are potentially off the books and can really give you a kind of a clean slate when those other contracts kind of kick in. So, yeah, I don't know. It's I think the one thing, I don't want to jump down on the goaltenders too much here, is I think there could be some interesting movement maybe in the goaltending market where maybe Edmonton, I don't know, is it a Joel Hofer? Is it some sort of, offer sheet? Can you return that favor? That's an area I would love to see if they can get creative with. But as far as swinging big in free agency, I don't know if I see it.
Yeah, the offer sheet, well, first of all, they can't even make an offer sheet until they get their second rounder back, right? They don't have their second rounder.
Right.
So any offer sheet, well, unless you're going 4 first rounders, and that ain't happening for Hofer. So that would have to be their first thing. So we'll be able to tell if they're making an offer sheet if they require that pick, right? Like it would probably have to be done. Well, they wouldn't do it before. They would have to announce it first, and then literally a minute later they would announce the offer sheet, right? That's the only way to make that.
Yeah.
So feasible, yes, teams have done it, but I wonder, so you could offer sheet him, or do you think, would St. Louis trade you Binnington? And if you were the Oilers, would you be interested? Or are you like, he had a really great year. And yes, he won the Four Nations, but I don't know. Is Binnington your guy? What would you do if you could get Binnington? Would you be leery, or would you jump all over it?
I mean, if I was Edmonton, yeah, I'd be very interested in that. I think Jordan Binnington has a lot of attributes. He's a phenomenal goaltender in big games, and I think he has a lot of things that would fit really well in Edmonton. There, I'm curious from the St. Louis standpoint. Do you feel like Hofer is that next guy where he can kind of free up and get some money off the books and kind of change things? I mean, that was a team that I think surprised a lot this past year. I mean, honestly, though, a lot of that probably was due to the offer sheets they got from Edmonton with the players. I mean, that was a huge factor in that team turning it around like they did this year. So, yeah, I mean, I would be interested if I was Edmonton. I don't know what exactly that would look like. I think it would make sense from both sides. That I think that could be something that can definitely work.
Mike Rupp joins us. What about the Panthers? Now, Bill Zito said, I think I can bring them all back. Ekblad, Bennett, Marchand. I think you say that moments after you've won the Stanley Cup because everybody's in a feel-good moment. The last thing you're going to say at that time is, well, I'm not really sure, right? Because you want everybody to celebrate and enjoy the moment. Do you think, though, they're all coming back?
No, I don't. I think the two forwards are. I think Marchand and Bennett will re-sign. I think Aaron Ekblad. I just can kind of see him, and I know a lot of people probably thinking that as well, with Seth Jones as maybe a little bit of a, not just an insurance policy. I mean, he made them a better hockey team, and they won because of a lot of reasons, getting a guy like Seth Jones and helping shore up that back end. But a right shot defenseman that maybe will lessen that blow of Ekblad leaving, or being allowed to leave. And I think that the big piece of that, to me, it's tough though, because I don't know from your vantage point what you thought. I thought Aaron Ekblad was awesome in the finals. I mean, outside of the highlight reel goal, the Leon goal where Connor walks him there. I mean, he was great, and I thought he did a heck of a job in that series. But I just think when you're looking at it, that forward group that they have is so unique, so special. They've kind of been able to turn over the defense over the last couple of years. Seem like they haven't really missed a beat. I think they find a way to keep Sam Bennett and Brad Marchand and Ekblad's the odd man out.
Yeah, you're probably right. I'll be interested to see where it goes. We'll talk Rupper one last time next week about free agency, and we'll have some fun because you're going to play matchmaker on Wednesday and on where we think guys are going to go, Rupper. So think about it. You got a week. Next Wednesday, we'll play a little matchmaker leading up to NHL free agency.
Oh, sounds good. I'll be ready.
All right, buddy. Have yourself a good one. Enjoy some time off.
Thanks. You too.
That's Mike Rupp from the NHL Network. Final break of the morning Wednesday, we call it. This is the day of mourning for Oilers fans. Totally fair, totally valid. And it might not even be a day. For some of you, it might be a little bit longer. But you know what? You got to get back on the horse. So maybe you're going to turn the Jays game on tonight. Maybe you'll go to the Elks game tomorrow. Maybe Riverhawks, they're in town. Go to the Riverhawks game tonight. right? Stingers. You got options. You're a sports fan. You know you love it. You know you love it. Even the pain, because you can focus on the pain or you can focus, God, I had a pretty good 2 months of fun. Wherever you were, however you're doing it, with your family, with your friends, strangers. Maybe you're at the Moss Pit. You're like, God, I had a good time. Because for a lot of nights, you had a really good time. Like, think about it. It was up when it was 2-2. It's coming home for game 5 on a Saturday. Like last Friday, you were flying high. 4 days can't ruin everything. Just remember that. You don't want to do analysis of your enjoyment like some people analyze Bouchard. They focus way more on the bad and forget all the good. Yes, there is some bad, but there's lots of good. And you had way more good days than bad days in this Stanley Cup run as an Oilers fan. We'll come back, wrap things up on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Get in the game. Use the promo code Gregor50, Gregor50, and you can play today. Of course, hey, you might want to get on the Jays train, buddy. The Jays train is rolling at PlayAlberta.ca.
Hey, Alberta, the all-new Play Alberta app is here. Casino, sports betting, lottery, all in one app, right on your phone. And because it's Play Alberta, you know it's safe, secure, and reliable. Download it now and play over 500 online casino games, live dealer tables, and unique games you'll love. Plus, bet on sports from anywhere in the province. You in? Download Play Alberta now from your phone's app store and deposit using promo code OIL for a $100 casino bonus on the house. That's promo code OIL for a $100 casino bonus.
Performance by Action Electrical today. Their projects team kicks things off, designing and building with unmatched skill.
Then the service team swoops in for those crucial repairs and maintenance. And don't forget the testing team, ensuring everything's safe and sound before the solar team scores with sustainable energy.
A complete team effort. Have Action Electrical bring home a win for you and your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
New crust alert at Papa John's. Your favorite cheese meets your favorite pizza in the new cheddar crust pizza for only $17.99. Papa John's pizza makers created the perfect addition to their crust by melting garlic and herb seasoned cheddar cheese right on top of their fresh original dough that's made with 6 simple ingredients. Try a one-topping cheddar crust pizza today for only $17.99. You better hurry though, because it's only for a limited time. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, proudly locally owned and operated.
The summer drive event is on now at Buick. Right now, get 0% financing for up to 60 months on the 2025 Buick Envision. Make your presence known with available 20-inch alloy wheels with pearl nickel finish. Showcase your style with available quilted perforated front leather-appointed seats. And radiate confidence on any drive with Buick's suite of standard safety features. Get behind the wheel of your Buick Envision today. Ask your Buick dealer for details.
Globe Rotary Rib Fest returns July 11th to 13th in Central Park, Spruce Grove. It's fall off the bone fun with tasty ribs and cold drinks, live music, a family fun zone, local market, and more. Become a VIP at GroveRotaryRibFest.ca.
Reports suggest that Canadian taste buds are bored to tears.
My mouth can't handle another dull drink.
Summertime smoothie experts everywhere are recommending a watermelon wake-up from Booster Juice.
It's so smooth, cool, and refreshing.
And ridiculously delicious. Enjoy the Watermelon Wave and Watermelon Explosion smoothies, available all summer long at a Booster Juice near you. Stay cool, Canada.
Booster Juice, Canadian-born, blending since 1999.
Diablo Boots sells only Canadian-made work and biker boots made by Canada West. No American or boots made in China, so no tariffs. All of Diablo's boots have replaceable soles and heels for longer life. Sizes 6 to 14 Triple E. Buy quality, buy Canadian. And support Canada West and Diablo, the 2 best names in the boot business. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Buy Canadian. They're terrific.
Imagine a world where mental health is not a stigma, but a priority. At the Canadian Mental Health Association, we're working to make it a reality. Your donation of time or money at cmha.ca can turn the tide of mental health. Join the movement.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Action Electrical. They're the most diversified electrical contractor in Alberta with 4 divisions in project, service tag, and solar for commercial or residential. Contact them today at actionelectrical.net.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Such a good tune, man. That one stands up the test of time. I don't care what area you're in. That is a great song. Final countdown. And Oiler fans, I know it feels like it now, but you know what? The Oilers, they're not going away. They're going to be good. They're going to have to retweak. They're going to have to make some changes, but they've still got a pretty good core. And I think some people have gone a little overboard in the concern for the team. Wasn't that many people that concerned after 4 games. And so, you know what? You had 2 games, and it's disappointing. No question, it's disappointing. No one's more disappointed than the players, I can tell you that. They will be like, hey, we want to have a competition on disappointment. We'll probably win, right? They would be they'd be pretty depressed right now. There's no question about it. They obviously, you have your goal, your dream of your life, and it's ripped out of you. That's no fun. And now they'll have to regroup. Obviously, they're not all going to be together. Right? I don't think there was going to be a camera in the room this year, eh, Con Man? There wasn't. There was no documentary being shot this year.
I mean, if so, it hasn't popped up yet.
Yeah, so we're probably not going to get any, Zach Hyman quotes that the fans loved and videos like that, which hey, they were great. I can see why fans would love it. Like those kind of behind the scenes are I think actually what the NHL needs more of. Now, I'm sure other fans like, okay, I've seen it. I don't need to see him that devastated again. Fair. But, when your team's always there, now if they win, then trust me, if the Oilers win, would you want to be there? Would you want to see that? I think you would. And so, you know what? Maybe the Oilers will do it. Obviously, the Oilers always have their own cameras in there. So if they ever won, I'm sure they would knowing the Oilers organization, they would put something out afterwards and sell it as a DVD or something, right? You would think they probably might have done that even this year, but they'll just have to wait for it to happen. 833-401-1440. We had loads and loads of texts coming in. We got a few more of them to get to. Hey, guys, I agree we aren't miles away from winning, but what is the one thing you'd like to see changed? Well, it's because I don't think it's one thing. Like, I think it's too simplistic for people to think, if you have better goaltending, they automatically would have won. Did goaltending hurt? Like, they went 8-2 against Vegas and Dallas. Was their goaltending good? I think they had 3 shutouts. How many other games were they allowed a goal? Like, I don't know if their goaltending, you can just say, was the only reason they lost game 5 and 6 was goaltending. It was 2-2. Right? What high danger chances in games 5 and 6 combined were 13-6 in favor of Florida. 13-6 in games 5 and 6. Florida was better. But at that being said, I could still see a change there if it makes sense. Because keep in mind, when your goalie tandem gives you that little cap space, it gives you flexibility elsewhere. So the other change, they got to improve their penalty kill. They need a right shot defender who can penalty kill, because right now they only got one in Evan Bouchard. And he was pretty decent on the PK. But they need another right defender who can help out for sure. On behalf of Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, everybody listening, thanks so much. All of our guests, if you missed any of them, go to jasongregor.com. The individual interviews are there. Or you go anywhere you get your podcast. Rob Schremp, Mike Rupp, Mark Spector, and more. Coming up tomorrow, we got a little Elks talk. We got more on the Oilers. The Oilers will have their final say with some of the players. Coach and GM will be on Friday. So we got a few more days, of course. You can't just have one day of morning. It'll be a few. Let's get to the Command Sports 1440 update, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, your one-stop shop. Live dealer, lottery, instance, casino, and more. And use the promo code Gregor50 at PlayAlberta.ca. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Multiple reports out there saying the Oilers and forward Trent Frederic nearing an extension to be in the ballpark of 8 years. Frank Saravalli saying it'll be between $3.5 and $4 million. AAB, the Nashville Predators have acquired forward Eric Haller from the Devils for defenseman Jeremy Hansel in a 2025 fourth-round pick. Game day in the city. Riverhawks in action, taking on the Bells. First pitch, 7:05 at the Major League level. Jays right now on top of the Diamondbacks, 1-0 in the bottom of the third. Elsewhere, Phillies lead the Marlins 4-1. Yankees, Angels tied at 1 apiece, and the Braves have a 3-0 lead over the Mets in the second. Some news from the CFL. Stampeders placing receiver Reggie Begelton on the 6-game IL with a fractured leg. In the NFL, the Baltimore Ravens signing former Green Bay Packers cornerback Jair Alexander, 1 year, $6 million. And in the association, the Buss family in agreement to sell the majority ownership of the Los Angeles Lakers to Mark Walter for a record $10 billion. That's going to do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next, we've got Fox Sports Radio all night. Live local coverage resumes tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. with Kevin Carius and Brandon Douglas. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
It's Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJ